Good morning and welcome to today's New York City Council hearing for the Committee on Immigration. At this time, I would like to remind everyone to silence all electronic devices. Also, at this point going forward, no one is approaching the dais. No one. Chair, we're ready to begin.
I am calling this meeting to order. Good morning, everyone. My name is Councilmember Elsie Encarnacion, Chair of the Committee on Immigration. Thank you for joining us. Today, we will be examining New York City sanctuary protections and the resources available to immigrant communities. It is my pleasure to welcome the new Commissioner of the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, Faiza Ali. I look forward to hearing your testimony and working with you to strengthen protection for immigrant New Yorkers. I would also like to thank the representatives from the administration, members of the public, and my council colleagues who are here today, including Councilmember Alexa Aviles. This hearing is taking place at a time when we are seeing harsh immigration enforcement tactics from the federal government. From arrests of non-citizens attending their required immigration court hearings and ICE check-ins, to parents being taken off the streets of our neighborhoods and students from their campus dorms, Donald Trump continues to push a harmful and extreme agenda on cities like New York. But New Yorkers have made it clear they want ICE out of our cities. Across our neighborhoods, people are standing up, organizing protests, sharing Know Your Rights materials, and supporting immigrant-owned businesses. Our communities are doing their part to protect one another and stand against fear and division. In the past, New York City has stepped up to protect immigrant communities in moments like this. In 2017, under the leadership of former Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito, the council worked with the administration of Mayor Bill de Blasio to strengthen our sanctuary protections. Together, we expanded the role of Moya, protected immigrant students and consumers, and safeguarded the privacy of all New Yorkers, regardless of immigration status. Because of these laws, the city cannot work with ICE to carry out harmful policies like family separation. New Yorkers need that same leadership again today. This committee and the council stand ready to work with Moya to push back against harmful immigration policies, support our immigrant neighbors, and protect the future of our communities. We look forward to hearing about how our new mayoral administration plans to restore Moya's role as an advisor and convener. This includes helping the city agencies follow our local laws, providing resources to our communities, working with other sanctuary jurisdictions, and advocating for fair and humane immigration policies. New York City must not be complicit in Donald Trump's deportation agenda. Our city has a long history of investing in immigration legal services, know your rights trainings, and language access. These efforts help ensure that immigrants not only survive in our city, but truly thrive. We look forward to working with the administration to make sure of that through both our words and our actions. New York remains a city that protects families, strengthens communities, and stands up for the working people who make this city what it is. Today, the Committee on Immigration will also hear two bills that will strengthen our sanctuary city protections. Introduction 59, sponsored by Councilmember 55, sponsored by Councilmember Alexa Avila, will require the Commissioner of Moya, in consultation with the New York City Law Department, to develop signage that clearly explains key sanctuary protections under local law. The signage would also identify examples of non-public areas on city property and explain the rights people have when interacting with federal immigration authorities. While our nonprofit partners are working hard to hold workshops, inform immigrant communities of their rights, the city must also find ways to share this information more consistently, not only with those directly impacted, but across all city agencies and staff. I'm very proud to be a co-sponsor on this bill. Introduction to 61, sponsored by Councilmember Shaker Krishner, who has joined us as well. Hello. Would prohibit New York City from entering into contracts with entities that carry out immigration enforcement actions that penalize someone for their presence in, entry into, or re-entry into the United States when the city is providing goods or services to those agencies. This bill recognizes the serious harm immigration enforcement can cause to families and communities. It also gives us the opportunity and the responsibility to reevaluate how New York City interacts with ICE in contractual relationships. I am grateful to both Councilmember Aviles and Krishna for introducing these bills and for the continued focus on safety, fairness, and justice for immigrant communities and all New Yorkers. I would like now to thank my committee staff for their work in preparing this hearing, including Senior Legislative Counsel Nicole Kata, Senior Legislative Policy Analyst Rebecca Barria, Principal Financial Analyst Navi Baines, Assistant Finance Director Florentine Cabor. Finally, I would like to thank my staff, Deputy Chief of Staff Stephanie Herrera, Legislative Director Adam Bernstein, and Legislative Fellow Whitney Mora, and everybody working behind the scenes to make today's hearing run smoothly, including the amazing Sergeant at Arms. Did anybody else join us? Nope. Okay, so I would like to now turn it over to Councilmember Aviles for brief remarks on her bill.
Thank you so much, Chair, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here for this hearing today, and welcome to Commissioner Ali. Today, we're hearing one of my bills that protects and upholds New Yorkers' rights. Intro 55, the New York City Know Your Rights Act. It makes sure our city workers and residents know their legal rights and responsibilities when it comes to federal immigration enforcement. The bill requires MOIA to create and hang signage on city property telling people about their rights when engaging with federal authorities. As federal immigration authorities engage in increasingly aggressive and open lawless activity, there should be no ambiguity about our city's sanctuary laws. Clear signage detailing the rights of both employees and individuals in these spaces will give New Yorkers the confidence they need to assert their rights in stressful situations. In the words of a community activist, the signage will purely tell people that you are welcome here, which is an important message to affirm to all immigrants in New York City, regardless of even what it says, which is an important thing for our city. It will also ensure that our city protects our immigrant neighbors rather than bucking before federal agents' ruses and intimidation tactics. Amid the daily and innumerable horrors coming from this federal administration, I'm heartened to see New Yorkers come together to protect one another. Across my district and the city, New Yorkers, including folks in this room, are working tirelessly to lead Know Your Rights trainings, assemble whistle kits, run support hotlines, and do everything they can to protect their people. It is time for our city to do its part in supporting these grassroots efforts and make sure that everyone entering our city property understands their rights under local laws. Well, one would imagine a signage is just a sign. The truth of the matter is we have to do everything in our power to live in and actualize what it means to be a sanctuary, to remind people that sanctuary is not at your discretion or political views. Sanctuary is what our city has leaned into as its own values. And so whether it is signs on every single city property or the assertion by our investment in making sure that people are getting trained and have access, we have to do everything we can to make sure our city is safe. I thank everyone who joined us today to testify and urge my colleagues to support the New York City Know Your Rights Act. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember. I will now turn it over to Councilmember Krishna for brief remarks on his bill.
Thank you so much, Chair Encarnacion, for holding today's hearing and on my legislation as well. Good morning, Commissioner. It is good to see you. Good to see you in this role. I'd like to take a moment to discuss my legislation, Intro 261, which is being heard today. Last Thursday, I held my first hearing in the Oversight and Investigations Committee on our city sanctuary laws and the agency's compliance with them to reaffirm that our city agencies work for us and not for ICE. We are at a perilous moment in our city right now and right here in New York City. Donald Trump and the federal government are testing the limits of our city sanctuary policies. This goes back to last year when we saw the number of instances where the Department of Corrections and the NYPD egregiously violated the sanctuary laws or came very close to doing so. An administration with Mayor Adams that was eager, sadly, to cooperate with ICE and Border Czar Tom Homan in any capacity. Our sanctuary laws protect immigrant New Yorkers. They help them feel safe coming to the city government for services, from healthcare to help with housing to care for their children. It's for that reason that city agencies should be working for us, focusing on the needs of our city, delivering for New Yorkers' needs, and keeping us safe. At a bare minimum, the sanctuary laws make sure that our city government is not cooperating with the enforcement of federal immigration laws. But even more fundamentally, our sanctuary laws keep New Yorkers safe. They make them feel safe and comfortable coming to city government for the services that they need. Not taking on federal immigration responsibilities, not collaborating with ICE, and not increasing the fear that we all feel every day. But our protections against ICE are only as strong as the paper they are strong. Our protections on ICE will only be as strong as the paper they are written on if they are not enforced in reality or strengthened in any way. That's why we are hearing Intro 261 today. It would prohibit New York City from entering into contracts with entities that engage in immigration enforcement and penalize a person's presence in, entry into, or re-entry into the United States. Our city agencies shouldn't be working hand in hand with Donald Trump's deportation agenda, as our chair so powerfully said. We must do everything we can to end ICE's presence in our city and make sure that City Hall is working to make New Yorkers' lives safer and more affordable, not increasing fear. Intro 261 would help do that. It would not only end future contracts, but end current ones too, allowing us to fully move on from an era under the last mayoral administration where we saw egregious collaboration with ICE and immigration enforcement. The time is urgent. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you. I will now turn it over to the committee counsel to administer the oath before we hear testimony from the mayoral administration.
Thank you, Chair. We will now hear testimony from the administration. We will hear from Moya Commissioner Faiza Ali. Before we begin, I will administer the affirmation. Please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this committee and to respond honestly to council member questions?
I do.
Thank you. You may begin when ready.
Good morning. Thank you to Chair Encarnacion and members of the Committee on Immigration for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Faiza Ali, and I'm the new commissioner for the New York City Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, or MOIA. By way of introduction, and for some, a reintroduction, I am the proud daughter of immigrants from Azad Kashmir in Pakistan. Growing up in an immigrant household as a woman, as a Muslim, and as a brown New Yorker shaped my understanding of what my role and responsibility is to the city that I serve. It also shaped how I think about what government should be and the responsibility it carries to serve all communities fairly and remain responsive to their voices. For nearly 20 years, I have worked in community organizing and public service, guided by a simple belief that everyone in the city deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, and that government at its best meaningfully can improve the lives of people if it chooses to. I see my role at MOIA a continuation of that work, but this moment requires more than words. It requires government that is coordinated, that is responsive, and willing to stand clearly on the side of immigrant New Yorkers. At MOIA, our focus is turning values into action, aligning city agencies to deliver services effectively, strengthening legal protections for immigrant New Yorkers, and ensuring that the city's sanctuary laws are real in people's daily lives. In a time of federal uncertainty, New York City must be a source of stability, dignity, and opportunity for the families who help power this city. As commissioner, I believe our responsibility is to listen to immigrant communities and ensure that their lived realities shape how government operates. We can build a city where all New Yorkers can lead safe and dignified lives. As federal immigration authorities continue to destabilize and sow fear in our communities, it is important that New York City reaffirms our status as a sanctuary city by living up to our values. That means reaffirming our sanctuary laws, not just as policy, but as practice. Ensuring that immigrant communities can live, work, and access services and continue to participate in civic life without fear. All immigrants, regardless of their status, are part of our city. It is our responsibility to ensure that they can build lives of safety and opportunity here. My testimony today will focus on the nature of New York City's sanctuary city laws, the need to ensure a strict adherence to these laws during these times of chaos, and the programs that Moya operates to support our immigrant communities. First, I want to reaffirm Moya's fundamental mission to protect all immigrant New Yorkers. The data shows that by ensuring that all New Yorkers, regardless of immigration status, can access city services, we can advance public safety and well-being for everyone. Guided by our values and our charter mandate, Moya continues to lead the city's efforts in support of this goal. New York City does not control federal immigration policy, but we can choose whether we let fear guide our daily lives or focus on what we can do to keep New York safe. Under Local Law 228, all city agencies and offices, including contractors and vendors, are prohibited from assisting immigration enforcement or utilizing city resources for those purposes in most cases. Moya reports on all requests from non-local law enforcement for assistance with immigration enforcement every fiscal quarter, allowing both the public and the city council to see how the city's sanctuary laws are working and to create an opportunity to address issues or answer questions as needed. Under the leadership of Mayor Mamdani and the issuance of Executive Order 13, the city is committed to review and strengthen implementation of sanctuary laws, including Local Law 228. The executive order requires public safety audits. It creates employee and public education requirements on existing laws, and forms an interagency response committee. The public safety audit, which must be completed by early May, ensures that agencies like ACS, DOC, DOHMH, DOP, DSS, and the NYPD are in compliance with the city's laws and requires them to publish their policies and protocols publicly. These agencies are also responsible for training all employees, officers, contractors, and subcontractors. The order also outlines several important roles for Moya, including coordinating an education campaign about our laws for our colleagues at sister agencies and the public. We will also work alongside senior administration leadership on the Interagency Response Committee to provide guidance on preparing and responding to crises. Moya has already been expanding and sustaining important lines of communication and collaboration with city colleagues. The Interagency Task Force on Immigrant Affairs meets on a quarterly basis to ensure both ongoing instruction and communication regarding immigrants' rights issues across city agencies. Moya's communication campaign is also focused on informing communities of their legal rights under local, state, and federal law, as well as encouraging New Yorkers to call our legal immigration support hotline for immigration help. The campaign is currently hosted in 4,000 digital Link NYC screens across the city on a 24-hour cycle. Since our last testimony to the council on sanctuary policies in January 2025, we created several new materials in 10 languages and counting to respond to some of the immigrant community's most asked questions, including Know Your Rights information available in print and on our website. Today, we have our resources available here for the council and for the members of the public to take with them as well. In 2025, our external affairs team also made more than 35,000 direct touch points through resource fairs, Know Your Rights presentations, and canvassing. Over the past 4 years, resources on Moya's website were also downloaded over 142,000 times by nearly 79,000 users. Moya is also continuing to work closely with nonprofits to inform immigrant communities of their rights and the availability of city services. Immigrant rights workshops include information about our sanctuary laws, their rights and protections for immigrant New Yorkers under the New York City Human Rights Law and how individuals can report violations of their rights. The presentations have also served as an additional entry point for community organizations and their clients to connect to free and quality immigration legal services. In FY25, this program delivered 455 presentations that reached nearly 10,000 people, continuing our critical role in outreach to immigrant communities. And while we cannot control the actions of the federal government, we can and should be proactive in our policies and programs to ensure that fear of enforcement doesn't prevent workers from showing up to their jobs, children from attending school, or families from accessing health care and engaging with their broader community. Moya has also created the necessary legal infrastructure during this time of greatly increased need. Last summer, we launched Moya's Immigration Legal Support Centers, supported by more than $18 million in investments over 3 years to support up to 25 community-rooted organizations providing culturally and linguistically responsive immigration legal assistance. The network currently consists of 35 centers across the 5 boroughs. This model was created to leverage the expertise and experience of nonprofits and community-based organizations that are already embedded in the city's immigrant communities. This initiative provides community members with a variety of legal and non-legal navigation and support services and maintains close outreach and referral partnerships through local schools, hospitals, libraries, houses of worship, and other local partners, meeting New Yorkers where they are. Since the program's July 2025 launch, the centers have conducted approximately 7,500 comprehensive legal screenings supporting immigrants on a variety of legal needs. All Moya Centers program providers have free access to select online training and webinars to a nationwide legal technical assistance program through Catholic Legal Immigration Network Incorporated, or CLINIC. The Moya Legal Technical Mentorship Program provides dedicated support to the LSC network, and in FY26, the Immigrant Justice Corps, or the IJC, is offering additional legal technical support for LSCs. Having access to multiple legal technical assistance programs and resources is important for immigration legal professionals to maintain their professional ethical duties, train and support the professional growth of their staff and volunteers, and to advance informed decision-making on advocacy and program operations. Providers are also connected to trainings and resources that allow them to respond appropriately to federal policy changes. Another critical resource available to immigrant communities is Moya's Immigration Legal Support Hotline, which is also operated by Catholic Charities Community Services and helps New Yorkers explore their options to access comprehensive immigration legal screenings. In calendar year 2025, the hotline received more than 26,000 calls. At the start of 2026, the hotline expanded its service hours to include an additional 3 hours on Monday and Wednesdays from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And New Yorkers can also call the hotline and be connected to services on the last Saturday of each month from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Finally, during this distressing year, Moya has made substantial use of the Rapid Response Legal Collaborative, or RRLC, which has provided legal assistance to immigrant New Yorkers who are detained or at imminent risk of detention or deportation. Considering the current need, Moya has increased our investment in rapid response legal efforts by $2 million in this fiscal year. Additionally, Moya is collaborating with New York City Public Schools Project Open Arms to implement a dedicated referral pathway and Know Your Rights training for New York City students and their immediate family members who may be eligible for the Rapid Response Legal Collaborative's services. Turning to the legislation before this committee, Moya supports Introduction 5.5, and we look forward to working with the council and the sponsor to refine the bill language to reflect the changes recently announced by Mayor Mamdani. And while we have made much progress in the last year, we recognize that there is still much more work to do to protect and support our diverse immigrant communities. Moya stands ready to partner with the City Council, with advocates and community organizations and others to deepen our collaboration and collective impacts in the months and years to come. We're proud that New York City invests more in immigration legal services than any other city in the country, and we will continue to explore ways to expand and improve these critical services for our immigrant communities. I thank you and look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Before we go into questions, I want to allow the opportunity for our public advocate who has joined us to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Brooklyn-born Faiza Ali. It's great to see you here.
You too.
As mentioned, my name is Jamani Williams, public advocate for the City of New York. I'd like to thank Chair Encarnacion. That's it, right?
Almost.
Almost? All right. I'll try. Keep working on it. My name is Jamani, though, so I understand the feeling. And the members of the Committee on Immigration for holding this hearing today and for allowing me an opportunity to give an opening statement in the middle of the hearing. New York City is home to more than 3 million immigrants, and it's this diverse tapestry of people that makes our city so very special. Right now, they are under an unprecedented attack on their civil and human rights, and each of us have a responsibility to protect them. Similar city sanctuary laws are also under attack. New York City has had laws in place that limit how the city can interact with federal immigration enforcement since 1989, when Executive Order 124 was enacted by then Mayor Ed Koch. Our sanctuary laws do not shield criminals. They never have, as many claim. In fact, the city allowed to honor detainer requests for individuals convicted of more than 170 different crimes, including rape and murder. Despite all of the fear-mongering about sanctuary cities, these laws make us all safer. These protections allow immigrants to report crime, serve as witnesses, and access schools and city services without fear. These large-scale immigration enforcement operations also divert resources away from initiatives that actually promote safety. It's not just the president leading attacks on our immigrant communities. With the previous mayoral administration, the call for erosion of immigrant rights came from inside the House as well. Unfortunately, former Mayor Eric Adams issued an executive order to allow ICE to establish an office on Rikers Island and expressed his desire to change the city's sanctuary laws to allow more collaboration between the city and federal immigration enforcement agencies. Thankfully, our new Mayor Mamdani feels differently and has issued his own executive order reaffirming the city's immigration protections. Still, we must remain vigilant and thoroughly examine every area that may leave immigrants vulnerable while accessing city services. One area of concern and vulnerability is schools. Schools are not permitted to open their doors to immigration enforcement unless they have a signed judicial warrant. Though we have not seen anyone picked up by immigration enforcement either inside K-12 schools or while dropping off their children, we have seen this take place in other localities, and the fear around attending school is real. Students at our colleges and universities, however, have been particularly targeted by this administration. And just last week, federal agents misrepresenting themselves as NYPD officers took a Columbia student from their dorm and detained her. More importantly, lied about trying to find a young woman who wasn't missing. Thankfully, she was released later that day, but the incident exposes concerning vulnerability that requires examination as well as collaboration to ensure it does not happen again. We have also seen immigrants targeted following illegal proceedings. When ICE consistently detains people who have lawfully attended an immigration hearing or check-in, it disincentivizes complying with the law and attending these hearings. Federal presence at municipal and state courthouses, too, can deter people from participating in the legal process, even when they are the one who was victimized or a key witness in a crime. This is why protecting sensitive locations, places like schools, courthouses, hospitals, shelters, and places of worship is so important. We must step up where the federal government has stepped back. City agencies are for the people who live and work in New York City, not to serve dubiously legal, dangerous, and wasteful immigration officer enforcement operations. Every person in our city and in our country has inalienable human and civil rights, and we cannot let the inhumanity of this president erode our own humanity. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
You are welcome every single time. So first, I'd like to say, Commissioner, that I am really pleased to hear some of the things that were said during your testimony. I really feel that it sounds like we're aligned. And actually, before I keep going, I want to recognize Councilmember Gail Brewer that has joined us. But I do recognize that it seems that we're aligned, right? You're aligned with the city charter, advising agencies, best practices for immigrant inclusion, compiling quarterly reports, and things like that. But I want to take a step just to kind of understand the world as it stands today with Moya. You're new, I'm new, so I'm kind of going to get a grasp of what's going on there. So currently, how many staffers are on Moya's staff today?
Yeah, we have a team of about 60 staffers, both from that directly come from Moya and other agency lines.
So 60 staffers that come from other agency lines, but just
In
for more
total.
in
In
total,
total.
and just under Moya's staffing lines, you know?
The current direct staffing lines are between 4 and 5.
4 and 5. Okay. And is that the total allotted for that? I believe it's more than that, right? It's just what you have hired so far.
That is what is currently allotted for.
Okay. And do you have a dedicated staff who advise on the city's detainers?
So we have a pretty robust team currently. We have a team that handles external affairs. We have a team that handles policy. We have a legal counsel in house. So we do have the capacity currently to examine whether it's detainer laws, sanctuary laws, moving forward. Yes,
So you will have a dedicated staff member on the
currently
detainers?
have dedicated
Okay,
staff in house.
perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I know you've only been there for a very short amount of time.
This is my day 6.
Day 6. So
Yes.
in the 6 days,
Yeah.
are there plans to meet regularly with NYPD, DOC, DOP regarding those detainer requests?
That's an excellent question. So there are two sort of avenues right now that are before us that really dictate our interaction with agencies. So we have first the interagency task force that has existed. It's part of the charter. It's a charter mandate. It is where we engage agencies like DOP, DOC, NYPD, but also more broadly other agencies to learn more about any changes to city services that impact immigrant communities. So that is one bucket. And the other is the Interagency Response Committee that I mentioned in the testimony that comes from Mayor Mamdani's recent executive order that actually singles out 6 agencies, including the 3 that you have mentioned, and calls on them to submit a audit so we have a better understanding of how they are adhering to sanctuary policies and laws.
So in the 6 days that you've been there, have you had any one of these? Have you had an interagency meeting?
I have
Yet?
not in the last 6 days
6
that I've
days.
been there, no.
Okay.
But we do on the interagency task force. They do meet on a quarterly basis,
Okay.
and the response committee is still in formation. But I did have a preliminary conversation with a member of the mayor's administration on the contours of the response committee.
Okay. I am going to now shift gears a little bit, just talking about policy changes. I want to understand how Moya is going to be helping other agencies to prepare to respond to the possibility of ICE agents waiting to apprehend immigrants at or near hospitals, schools, religious institutions, and shelters.
So I'll take maybe even a further step back just to sort of give a sense of what Moya under the new administration will look like. And I think that it'll help answer part of your question. It's no secret that under the previous mayor, Moya was constrained by an administration that undermined the role of our office. And so we know that that is no longer the case. Under Mayor Mamdani, we've made it very clear that immigration empowerment and protection is actually a defining commitment of this administration. So as I assume this role as commissioner under my leadership, I am looking to lead a more vision-driven approach that really ensures that immigrant New Yorkers are protected, that they're heard, and that they are, in fact, able to thrive. So we are looking to build in-house capacity within Moya, centered around a few key areas, protecting immigrants first and foremost, but also looking at how are we advancing affordability and worker protection, and how are we increasing the trust frankly rebuilding the trust between communities and government. So this is a new Moya under a new mayor, and we are using this time to really kind of examine the current program capacities that we have, the current relationships that we have with agencies to really rebuild and strengthen our work. So we're actively looking to ensure that we have the infrastructure to meet this moment. Specifically to your question about how are we preparing for ICE enforcement activities, and so I've mentioned previously, building Moya's capacity to respond and deepen our own rapid response work as one portion. We have capacity right now with our External Affairs Committee that engages the public to make sure that we are meeting the communities where they are. But most importantly, or in addition, we are not doing this work in isolation. The Interagency Response Committee is really a body right now that is looking to develop plans to for a coordinated citywide response in the event that there is an escalation in federal enforcement.
And does the in-house capacity also mean hiring more staff or expanding, hopefully, the budget of Moya? Do you see the administration doing that?
So day 6, I'm still evaluating what our current capacity looks like to make those assessments. And we have another hearing, lucky me, in just a few short weeks to really dig into what the needs are and how we want to build the capacity of Moya to really meet this moment that the communities deserve.
Now, I know in your testimony you mentioned a lot of the Know Your Rights, both actual handouts, but also trainings that are being done. Is that something that agencies or the public must request through you? And how do they do that? How does someone access the resources that you have? Is it only by the website? Are you proactively looking to reach out to communities?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. There are a number of ways that our Know Your Rights materials are both accessible and available to the public and agencies. So through the interagency task forces, that is where we do a lot of info sharing and material sharing. And so agencies do have access to our most recently updated materials. They are available on our website in multiple languages. We have Know Your Rights flyers, we have palm cards, we have booklets that really have been updated to reflect what communities are asking for. What are the sanctuary laws in New York City? How do they impact New Yorkers? If a family member of mine or someone I know is detained, how do I access services? These are all information that is available on our website at nyc.gov/immigrants. And we are also disseminating information through our providers. So we have providers who conduct Know Your Rights trainings throughout the city in multiple languages. And so they are also carrying that material with them.
And how often does the Moya staff go to those, attend those Know Your Rights trainings and be present there to give out their own information or interface with community?
We have staff that table at most of these Know Your Rights workshops. We have staff that attend also events that are unrelated to Know Your Rights workshops that are just in the community. So whether we get a request from an elected official, from members of the council, or community-based organizations, we do have capacity. We have organizers and community liaisons that actually go out there and table. So that capacity exists, and if folks would like additional resources or help, they can feel free to reach out to Moya's office directly.
Now, I know that the unfortunate truth is that we are facing a time where policy changes are happening at the drop of a dime. Every time we turn on the TV, there's a new policy. How will Moya rapidly disseminate information amongst immigrant communities upon possible immediate and devastating policy changes?
So this is actually one area that I think is really critical for the future of Moya, is really making sure we have a robust team that is monitoring, policy changes on the federal, state, and local levels, and is able to, develop materials for both our community-based organizations and the public in a very digestible form. We do currently have a team that is focused on policy and programs. In fact, our programs are developed in response to a lot of the policy changes, so they do shift. But one thing that I'm really hoping to get us back on track to is having a really robust policy shop to do just that work.
And this team, this is in Moya, or you mean
Within
in
Moya.
within Moya? Okay, perfect.
Within the office.
And do you know if the information will be conveyed in plain language, especially since a lot of this is like legal information? It's pretty heavy and dense and hard to communicate. But
Absolutely. So our current materials, if you take a look at them, they are in plain language. They are in accessible language. I'll say as a non-attorney, it is important for me to make sure that we understand the information and that it is linguistically and culturally accessible as well.
in the recent weeks, have there been any state level legislation that the city has advocated for that is immigration related, of course?
That is something that I would have to get back to you on.
All right, that thing is tricky. One of the questions that I had is do you plan on meeting with agencies from other cities? Which cities? How often? For what purpose?
I'll say that my primary focus right now is to make sure we are deepening our relationships with the city agencies in our city right here. It is important that we have open lines of communication with our agency partners. And there are, the Moya is part of a national table, Cities for Action as well, where we work with, other big cities on, immigration and immigrant services that are available here in New York. We share best practices. That is an important part of the larger sort of conversation around how are we building, capacity in our cities to protect immigrant New Yorkers? What are other lessons that we can share and both learn? But my primary focus in the next few weeks will be to deepen the relationships with other agencies within the city.
And so the trainings that Moya has conducted with the city agencies, do you know how many trainings on average in a year they conduct with the different city agencies? And are you looking to increase the number of trainings that happen with the city agencies, or?
So I know that we have regular communication with agencies. I don't know the exact number. And one example I can give is that we are currently working with the New York City Department of Education on Project Open Arms and conducting sort of an assessment there on how do we ensure that students and their families have access to Know Your Rights materials, but also legal services through our Rapid Response Legal Collaborative. So I can get back to you with an exact number of how many trainings we've conducted with agencies, but I know that work is an ongoing part of Moya's work currently.
Great. And do you know if the future? So I'll say this. I know that we held a roundtable with some of the nonprofits and CBOs last week, and some of the concerns with that, these meetings interagency with agency heads, it may not always trickle down to the people that are front facing and forward facing to the community. So how do you see ensuring that the information that it's talked about in those conversations and what comes out of those conversations really get to the people that are going to be interacting with community members every day?
So that is one thing that I'm really hoping to bolster within Moya's capacity right now, is just really deepening the ties with those front-facing community-based organizations, not just the ones who are, really doing the heavy lifting of providing legal services as contracted providers, but also organizations on the ground. It is really important that they have all the information. One thing that I plan to borrow from my time at the council is, having regular roundtable meetings with community-based organizations to better understand what their needs are, what questions they have, and really trying to bridge that gap. And if that means inviting agency partners so they can directly communicate with providers, we will make sure that we prioritize that as well.
Great, thank you. I am going to actually take a quick break. I know that some of my colleagues have questions. We'll start with Councilmember Brewer, then Aviles, and then Krishna.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and congratulations, Commissioner. We're very excited about your job. I have a few questions. First of all, when you mentioned open arms, just how many districts have such a committee? I know Community School District, we meet in 3 every month. Sometimes 100 people are turning out. It's very, very successful. So I didn't know if other districts have such an open arms, because it's a great vehicle for students, but also for the community.
So on Project Open Arms, I'm gonna come back to you and just get that information from our team on exactly how many.
Okay. I think you find it's very, very helpful. I didn't know if anybody else even has such an open arms district gathering. Number 2, I'm concerned about storefronts, and I call them mom and pop businesses, but generally, is that an outreach that you do with SBS or others in terms of those? I find that when I go to places, because most of the people on the west side know me, and they have, oh, Gail, I have no green card, panic, but they don't want their bosses to know. So I just didn't know if you do outreach to the storefronts.
Yeah. So that's something that we are exploring. You know, when we think of the agencies that we want to prioritize building a deeper partnership with, we tend to look at, the law enforcement agencies. And so SBS is on our list. I'm excited to work with the new commissioner and their team on sort of thinking through what does outreach to storefronts look like. We have the materials, we have the resources, we have the expertise, and it's just a matter of making that connection. And so we will absolutely prioritize that.
I'd love to work with you on that. Hotline usage, I just know, are there any numbers? I understand Catholic Charities runs it, but is it used, the hotline?
The hotline is used, and I actually should have a breakdown of the number of calls.
Because I just didn't know if people know about it, or do they call 311, or,
So there are 2 ways you can access the hotline. You can call 311 and ask for immigration legal help. You'll get patched to the Catholic Charities Immigration Hotline. You can contact Moya as well. So there are multiple avenues for the members of the public to access
Okay,
that.
you can get back to me about the usage.
Yes, I actually think we may even have that.
Okay, all right. Audit info, when does that due? I know you mentioned there are 6 agencies that are supposed to be a part of the EO.
So the audits are due in early May.
Early May.
May 6th or 7th to be exact.
All right. And then when we had the hearing last week with O&I and criminal justice, it was mostly about correction, to be honest with you. And one of the issues was that, training had been lax, put it mildly. And that's why we ended up with some of these issues. So are you involved with training in the future? The gentleman who spoke, General Counsel, was pretty clear that they are going to do the training. But is that something that you're involved with? He seemed to be doing it all internally, which might be fine. But I just didn't know if Moya's involved.
Yeah, Moya is involved. We're playing a leadership role in the Interagency Response Committee that is dictated in the EO that requires the agencies to do the audit. So we will be receiving the reports and following up with a review of those reports and recommendations. So we are involved in that process.
Okay, so in other words, they'll be doing the training and you'll be auditing to see if it's working, essentially.
Right. Part of the audit is to also reveal where their gaps are on training. And so we're hoping to learn more information from that.
Because I would think there might be in that situation. Okay. The other question I have is, I'm a big fan, as you know, of the deliveristas and the work that they do.
Me too.
I know. I have them in my house, so I'm quite familiar with them. But they get jumped off of the platforms all the time. I spend a great deal of time trying to get people back on the platforms. So my question is, working with Workers' Justice or other such organizations, is that something, I'm trying to find out, how do you work with some of these nonprofits that desperately need legal assistance, desperately need help? I mean, they're swamped. So I know you have a legal assistance focus. I want to know if that's going to be, hopefully need more funding. How do you see the legal assistance being helped, specifically, in my case, for deliveristas?
Yeah. So we want to make sure that the resources that we have are actually reaching communities. And so part of our engagement with nonprofits is to bring them in to inform them of what services are available, and to really understand better how do we get those services to them. So we are very much looking forward to working with our partners to make sure that they have that information.
Okay, so do you think you need more money for the legal services, or are you waiting to see what exists?
We are currently looking at our current capacity. I will say I am not shy to ask for more money, and I'm not shy to defend the need. I just want to make sure, again, day 6, that we are taking our time and looking at our program, our capacity, what the needs are, and that we're listening to community organizations who are telling us what do they need.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say I've been to 2 Know Your Rights forums recently with Hands Off. 800 people at one, 400 at another. That's fantastic.
That is.
Thank
That is.
you.
If I may, Chair, I just want to get back to Councilmember Brewer on, you asked for a specific breakdown of how many calls we received through the hotline. So as from July 2025 to up to February 2026, the hotline received 13,912 calls, and a total of 13,357 were answered. I have a full list of the breakdown of the most languages that were requested, and I'm happy to share that with you
Later on,
along
okay.
with what the top issues were.
I would be interested.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, absolutely.
Alexa?
Great. Thank you so much. I guess just delighted to hear that the administration is interested in working with us on Intro 55. Just as a point of clarity, would Moya considered H&H a covered agency for Intro 55?
That is something that I will have to get back to you on.
Okay, what I'll
If
do.
H&H is covered?
I want to understand if Moya understands they would be covered. H&H, CUNY, NYPD precincts. Because my understanding of the legislation is obviously we stipulate DOE as one of the biggest agencies in the city, but certainly all agencies where people are coming into contact with should be agencies that would be covered under Intro 55.
And Councilmember, we're looking forward to continuing those discussions to kind of hash out, how expansive we need this bill to be.
Got it. No, definitely look forward to working with you all on that. Because what we have seen across the city is justice by zip code or understanding or discretion. And what we'd like to see is universal understanding that our city has adopted sanctuary city policy, which means we want to protect our immigrant neighbors, and we want everyone to understand that that is their obligation under the law. Whether they agree with it or not is not of my concern, but to make sure that there are clear guidance for our employees and our residents across the city. In terms of, would love to understand, we have had so many family members that have been abducted by ICE. I wondered how Moya is preparing to support families in instances where the members are the main source of income for their families who are detained. Is Moya considering any particular types of programs to step into that situation?
Yeah. Right now, we are looking, our current program capacity provides legal assistance to individuals, whether it's individuals that are, imminently facing detention or deportation. We are, this is like an ongoing conversation about there are larger needs of immigrant communities that are facing this crisis, and what does that look like? And we're really hoping to sort of get that feedback from the community to see if there are additional programming that Moya can provide, or there are other agencies that can really meet this moment.
Yeah, would love the administration to really consider some sort of emergency support. We have many families in my district alone where the sole income earner is detained, leaving children without any income earners at all. So we have rent problems, we have purchasing food, we have any manner of needs are currently becoming emergency, and no one wants to go and get additional services because they are afraid of the federal government. So akin to COVID, akin to many of the emergencies we have responded to in the past, I think we should really consider how we step into the emergency situation that is now. Also, in terms of another thing in terms of Project Open Arms, I'm certainly interested in learning more on how we may be revamping or expanding Project Open Arms. One thing that was very successful in the past was legal clinics in schools. What we've seen is kind of a lopsided balance of like legal services, obviously for people that are directly impacted, but very hard to get even a consultation with an attorney. So I had partnered with Moya back in the day under T1 to do legal clinics in schools across. I would love to be able to partner with Moya to bring that back because families really need it.
So Project Open Arms is a coordination body that works across schools across New York City, and we're happy to sort of connect with our partners at DOE and your office and other offices in the council to sort of, reintroduce that to schools in your district.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, they had been really relegated to just know your rights information. We need legal clinics and access to consultations for families in schools. That would be amazing. I guess she's saying I could keep going on. Well, I'm teasing. I'll ask one more question, which is not exactly in the bailiwick of Intro 55, but I was curious about what formal and or informal lines of communication exist between Moya and NYPD to respond to federal enforcement actions.
So there are two, one through our standing interagency task force, but specifically for an emergency or a crisis like this, specifically escalating federal enforcement from ICE, that communication would rest with the Interagency Response Committee. And so, Moya plays a leadership role at the same table as the first deputy mayor, who is a chair of this, including the mayor's chief counsel and special advisor to the FDM. So that is a vehicle that where communication with Moya specifically on any rapid changes that happen of increased enforcement by ICE.
Great. And, I think an ongoing concern, I don't want to entirely spend our time litigating the past and the failures of the previous administration. But it is an ongoing concern that family members, community members are seeing NYPD on the street, seeing ICE on the street and feeling like they are colluding with ICE and not actually protecting New York City residents. So I think one of the things that we are wanting to really focus on is to understand those communications, to understand how the administration is holding our feet to the fire, holding NYPD's feet to the fire, where there are bright lines so that residents can understand that NYPD is here to protect us, not to protect ICE breaking the law. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Shaker?
Thank you, Chair. Sorry about the multitasking here. Thank you so much, Commissioner, for your testimony today. I had a few questions as well. You heard a bit from Councilman Brewer about our hearing last week, and I wanted to just focus on that a bit more. The hearing was constructive in a lot of ways and productive because we got a lot of information about where things stand. I mean, obviously, there were very serious violations under the last administration or near violations. And as training became a big issue that needs to be done, another one that came up was we don't really know what we don't know in terms of, let's take DOC, for example. I think NYPD had accepted all the recommendations of the Department of Investigations. DOC had rejected some, though now they've changed their position under the new administration and have agreed in the last hearing to do a larger audit of the agency. So we understand with these individual instances, these clearly were not isolated instances, and how do we make sure it's not happening more broadly? So I know that also the DOI report and the executive order you mentioned before now kind of all converge to create a different scheme that we're under to make sure agencies are complying with the law. And I was wondering if you could talk a bit more about how you would approach and what Moya's role could be to approach agencies that have had violations in the past, where those violations do raise the question of what else is happening within those agencies. We've asked the DOC to also provide their training materials, but I do wonder if what thought you've given to working with agencies that do need more assistance, analysis, and scrutiny internally, department-wide, when it comes to our sanctuary law compliance.
Yeah, thank you, Council Member. This is, I hate to go back to it, but it is a fundamental function of the Interagency Response Committee is to wait until we receive these reports and audits to better understand where the gaps still exist and what resources we need to be providing as a city to agencies to make sure that our sanctuary laws are being upheld. One part where I see, where Moya is playing a role as part of a member of this committee is to help make those assessments, to help review the findings and come up with recommendations that we believe are going to be enforceable. And I think, I've said this and have come to sort of talk to our team about this, like sanctuary laws and policies, they've been on the books for a very long time and they're a very strong foundation. I think the difference between the previous administration and the current one is how is the accountability mechanism. And we're really looking to Executive Order 13 to serve as that accountability measure and really help create and build the systems to ensure that agencies are complying with sanctuary laws and the reporting requirements that come from both, the reporting requirements to Moya and to other agencies.
So Moya will have a role in the accountability and enforcement of those
Correct.
regulations?
That is how I interpret our role and as part of Executive Order 13.
Great.
Is to ensure that we have not only a voice at the table to talk about how these policies and how the policies of agencies really impact immigrant communities, because that's an important part of what we offer in that space, but also reviewing and making sure that there are accountability measures in place to make sure that agencies are upholding the law.
Okay, that's good to hear, because I think that is a key role that Moya could play that under the last administration, given their lack of focus and prioritizing of Moya couldn't do. But I think that is very helpful. And you all will be looking at the training materials that are created. I mean, I know the general counsels of offices of each of these agencies will do so as well, but I assume it would be in collaboration with you all too to make sure it's accessible for the line staff and implementable.
Absolutely. We're hoping to learn more through the audits on sort of the variety of trainings, the content of the trainings, and the efficacy, frankly, of the trainings.
Got it. Okay. I would also encourage you all, and the audits were and I know there's a new set of audits being done with the EO, but the DOI reports were very extensive for those two agencies in particular, with NYPD and DOC. And given that they have probably the most frequent, although it's the number of task forces is limited, but they do have a lot of frequent interaction with the federal government, given the criminal task forces. And we're seeing the way in which the federal government is trying to shoehorn immigration through criminal enforcement, and then using criminal enforcement as a front to really, go around the sanctuary laws. I would just encourage there too. There is a great starting point in the materials from DOI, and to give some thought to the agencies that we already know we're not in compliance. How can we tailor what we're doing to correct that, as well as set new standards going forward too?
Yeah, understood. Thank you, Councilmember.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. You actually asked one of my final questions, which is really around the making sure that there's accountability measures. I mean, if there's no accountability, then they're just words on paper. But I did want to follow up on the Department of Investigations, DOI. They released a report on the NYPD's compliance with local laws restricting city assistance with immigration enforcement. Among other policies and procedure recommendations, DOI noted that the NYPD is subject to record keeping and reporting requirements of Local Law 228 of 2017. The NYPD accepted all of DOI's policy and procedure recommendations. And so the question is really, does Moya agree with that interpretation of Local Law 228? And if so, going forward, as the new commissioner, will Moya resume collecting information from NYPD, DOC, and DOP?
So just to backtrack a little bit, under local law 228, Moya is responsible for submitting quarterly reports to the council speaker on all requests made to city officers and employees to assist with immigration enforcement and their responses. To the question that you've posed directly, our understanding and our position is that law enforcement agencies are required to report to Moya. And I want to note that with Local Law 228, it does not require Moya to report on events that law enforcement agencies separately report under detainer laws, but they still must report other requests to us. And we're happy to continue that conversation with the council if there are any discrepancies that we see.
Okay, before I continue on, I wanted to acknowledge my colleague, Councilmember Rita Joseph, for joining us. Thank you so much. Lastly, two things before she has some questions as well. The DOI report also stated that NYPD is subject to Local Law 246 on non-local law enforcement access to non-public areas of city property. Do you agree with that interpretation?
I will have to get back to you. I think we do have a position, but we'll circle back.
Okay. And do you ever receive 311 calls about ICE raids happening? Does that information get to Moya? And like, how quickly is that information conveyed to you?
Yeah. So right now, if you have any sort of question related to immigration, whether it's for legal assistance or there's an emergency incident taking place, and you contact 311, you will be connected to Moya directly. And in that case, depending on the situation and the specifics of the case, we will connect that individual to our rapid response legal collaborative or one of the other program providers.
Okay. Councilmember Joseph, you have the floor. You're welcome.
Good morning, Commissioner. How are you? Good to see you. You know where I'm going to go with this. In terms of New York City students, I know that in the last budget, we made sure that we partnered with the DOOR, Open Arms. We want to make sure those services are still in place for young people as they go in to check in. As you may know, Dylan is still in custody. Mukhtar Diallo, thank God they gave him back to us. But there's so many other young people out there. We want to make sure that Moya is working with New York City Public Schools, interagency and collaboration to make sure we're keeping our young people safe. So how are you continuing to work as Moya and the new commissioner coming in? Plan to assess, evaluate what's working, what's not working.
Absolutely.
Give me an idea of what's the plan, especially for around New York City people, young students, and also CUNY.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, council member. It's actually great to see you. And not surprising that you would ask about our New York City public school students. This is a question that Councilmember Brewer also touched on earlier. Just, the Project Open Arms, our collaboration and relationship with the Department of Education. You know this better than I do, that Project Open Arms is a citywide coordination body. And so they do work in schools across New York City. We are very much looking forward to supporting the new chancellor. I haven't had a chance to connect with him, but it is a priority for us because this is a program that we know works. This is a program that's really a feeder into and connecting students and their families who are impacted by immigration, connecting them to the necessary legal services that they need. So it is of utmost importance. It is an effective program, and it is something that we're looking forward to continue.
And on the higher education level for CUNY students, how are you working with the CUNY chancellor to make sure there are also supports in place for?
So our outreach to our agency partners and it throughout the city, as I'm sort of like making my way as a matter of introduction to many of these partners, includes our CUNY system. We want to make sure that students at all levels have the information that they need in the event that they need services.
And accompanied minors, we knew that was taken off the table under the federal government. How do we plan to continue supporting our unaccompanied minors?
So our unaccompanied minors still have access to legal services, through a variety of programs, some that are operated obviously out of Moya, but others that are outside of Moya. NIFUP is one example. And so we are looking forward to figuring out ways to communicate the various services, because they are available, to make sure that everyone in New York City understands where to go to for immigration help and support.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Of course. Thank you. Yes. We have a follow-up question from Councilmember Aviles.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on Project Open Arms. Will they be publishing written guidance around kind of the scenarios, in particular the scenarios of when ICE is near school buildings, either during arrival, lunchtime, dismissal, or if they're outside when kids are getting ready to go to school trips or sports, extracurricular activities? All of these things have actually happened in my district, and there were no written protocols around it. I think we were kind of fly by night figuring it out.
Yeah, that is extremely important information that we want to get out there, and it's something that we hope to have a further conversation with our DOE chancellor about.
Great.
And just lastly, Commissioner, I know this will probably come out as a result of the executive order and all of the audits that are being taking place. And so you may not, have the answers now, but I do want to emphasize that we really need to ensure that there's stopgaps and guardrails in place to ensure that NYPD's participation in various joint task force does not cross the line between cooperation, obviously, and immigration enforcement and violating those local laws. So to what extent do you know will Moya provide the NYPD and other agencies specifically on that topic?
Yeah, we share your concern. I know I certainly do too. Just in talking to communities and community-based organizations, but I am also confident under the new leadership and a new guidance of Mayor Mamdani that agencies, including the New York Police Department, will be playing an active role in both our interagency response committee, but also in just overall collaboration. I think I see it improving drastically because we have the support of the mayor and we have the support of the police commissioner.
Okay, if there are no further questions, you are done. Congratulations. For 6 days in, you're doing amazing. So we
I
look forward to the
appreciate that.
collaboration and we look forward to future hearings. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. I now open the hearing for public testimony. I remind members of the public that this is a government proceeding and that the quorum shall be observed at all times. As such, members of the public shall remain silent at all times. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video recording or photography is allowed from the witness table. Further, members of the public may not present audio or video recordings as testimony, but may submit transcripts of such recordings to the Sergeant-at-Arms for inclusion in the hearing record. If you wish to speak at today's hearing, please fill out one of the appearance cards with the Sergeant-at-Arms and wait to be recognized. When recognized, you will have 2 minutes to speak on today's oversight hearing topic, sanctuary protections for immigrant communities, or the legislation on today's hearing agenda, Intro 55 and Intro 261. If you have a written statement or additional written testimony you wish to submit for the record, please provide a copy of that testimony to the Sergeant-at-Arms. You may also email written testimony to testimony@council.nyc.gov within 72 hours of the close of this hearing. Audio and video recordings will not be accepted. For in-person panelists, please come up to the table once your name has been called. Now I will call our first in-person panel. Melissa Chua from NILAG, Lucia Goyen, and please excuse me if I'm mispronouncing, I'm trying to read through handwriting, Lauren Megaliso, I'm going to say everything with a Spanish accent, I already know this, and Sophie Dels Mir from Brooklyn Defender Services. Okay, for now we're going to proceed with the three that we have here, Lauren, Lucia, and Melissa. You can choose your order and start when you're ready.
I have the honor of going first. Good morning. Chair Encarnacion, council members and staff, good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today about legal services for immigrant New Yorkers. My name is Melissa Chua, and I am the director of the Immigrant Protection Unit for the New York Legal Assistance Group, NILAG. In addition to providing affirmative and defensive immigration services to thousands of New Yorkers every year, NILAG's immigration team is a proud member of the Rapid Response Legal Collaborative and the Pro Se Plus Collaborative. Since May 2025, NILAG's Pro Se Plus team has been on the ground at 26 Federal Plaza, serving pro se non-citizens who face often violent and illegal detentions. Similarly, our rapid response team has filed for and won numerous habeas petitions for non-citizens detained by ICE in violation of their constitutional and statutory rights. In detention after detention, we at NILAG have seen ICE blatantly violate the basic protections offered to every person in the United States, regardless of immigration status. In one case, ICE illegally profiled a father and grandfather of US citizens who had been living in the United States for 2 decades. Utilizing a search for another non-citizen as a pretense to detain him and interrogate Mr. P, ICE then disappeared Mr. P without any individual inquiry as to the appropriateness of his detention in violation of his constitutional statutory rights. As Mr. P was driven away in shackles in the back of an ICE van, he saw his wife walk by outside, looking for him in vain so they could return home to their children and grandchildren. Another NILAG client, Mr. A, an Afghan national who had been paroled into the United States to seek asylum, was called into ICE as part of a campaign of racially profiling and targeting Afghan nationals after the November 26, 2025 shooting. Since being allowed into the United States, he had followed every regulation required of him, and while his application for asylum was pending, had worked diligently to support himself. Regardless, like many other New Yorkers, Mr. A was detained at an ICE check-in while simply doing what he had been told and held in violation of ICE's regulations and policies. I know my time is up.
Yes.
And so just to say, in light of these ongoing illegal and inhumane disappearances, bills such as the New York City Know Your Rights Act are crucial, as it has never been more important for New York residents, non-citizens, and citizens alike to fully understand all of their legal rights as they relate to ICE. In addition,
I'm gonna have to ask you to stop. So I'm so sorry. There's a long list, so I just don't want to, take anybody's time away towards the end. So I'm gonna move on. But I did just want to ask really quickly. So, in terms of you seeing it, we know what ICE is doing in these streets. We know that they're illegal and stuff like that. But I wanted to know specifically around the sanctuary city policies, how you have seen in terms of our legal services, where have you seen that there needs to be a gap in addition to signage, in addition to people knowing their rights? How do you see that we can really fill in that gap to provide people with the security that they need in seeking legal assistance?
Yeah, I think in terms of signage, I think signage would also send a strong message to ICE that we care about our sanctuary city policies and people's rights. So what we have seen is that ICE often will misrepresent the rights that an individual has in a detention. And so simply understanding those and what rights one has when encountering ICE would be incredibly powerful, especially for the street detentions that we're seeing now.
Thank you so much. Any other questions for? No. Okay, I'm gonna go on. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt the panel.
Good afternoon or morning, Councilmember Encarnacion and members of the New York City Council Committee on Immigration. My name is Lucia Goyen, and I am the director of the Day Laborer Program at Catholic Charities Community Services, Archdiocese of New York. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. Catholic Charities has a long tradition of welcoming immigrants and refugees in New York City. Our services have a tremendous impact on immigrant communities across New York City, including in East Harlem and St. Cecilia's and our Mott Haven South Bronx Day Labor Center in St. Luke's. In recent months, fear and uncertainty have spread through the immigrant communities as aggressive immigration enforcement actions disrupt daily life. In our work, Catholic Charities staff consistently see how fear of interacting with government authorities prevents families from sending children to school, accessing health care, seeking mental health support, and even calling 911 to report crimes or emergencies. When people are afraid to seek help, the entire city is less safe and less healthy. Immigrant New Yorkers become more vulnerable to violence, exploitation, hunger, homelessness, illness, precisely the challenges that city services are meant to address. Despite growing need, we are seeing reduced engagement with essential services, fewer legal consultations, lower participation in workplace safety trainings, and workers withdrawing wage theft and labor rights complaints out of fear of retaliation. Sanctuary policies are essential to maintaining trust in city services, public institutions, and local law enforcement. They ensure that all New Yorkers can access basic protections without fear. We respectfully urge the City Council to maintain and enforce existing sanctuary protections, ensure city workers receive clear training on interactions with federal immigration authorities, and pass Intro 055-2026 to require signage informing New Yorkers of their legal rights. Catholic Charities stands ready to work with the Council to ensure that all New Yorkers, regardless of immigration status, can safely access the services that keep our community strong. Thank you for your leadership and commitment to protecting the well-being of immigrants in our city.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning to the Committee on Immigration. My name is Lauren Miliacho. I am the Training and Legal Technical Assistance Director of the Immigrant Justice Corps and a proud partner for the LTM Moya services. Immigrant Justice Corps supports the New York City Council's proposed amendment to the New York City Administrative Code in relation to signage describing certain constitutional and legal protections. The Immigrant Justice Corps proudly has over 50 Corps members currently serving in New York City. Over the last year, we have seen deeply troubling trends in militarized federal civil and immigration enforcement in cities and states across the United States. These incidents include arrest and detention of many different people of many different statuses, including U.S. citizens, lawful permanent residents, and valid visa holders, as well as people who are undocumented. Mass agents have unleashed many different types of chemical irritants and have harassed bystanders in violent protests and raids and other immigration enforcement operations. New York City has always been cognizant of the needs of its vibrant but vulnerable immigrant populations. Over the past decade, the City Council has enacted a comprehensive statutory scheme regulating when and how city agencies may interact with federal immigration enforcement. Yet the work of IJC fellows on the ground makes clear that many immigrants, city employees, are not fully aware of these legal protections. Fellows routinely hear from community members who are unsure of their rights when encountering federal immigration authorities and frontline workers who want clearer guidance on how to respond appropriately if agents appear at city facilities. At a time when immigrant communities face heightened fear and misinformation, the city must be proactive in affirming its legal framework. Transparency builds trust. When immigrant New Yorkers know their rights, they are more likely to seek health care, enroll their children in school, and cooperate with law enforcement and participate fully in civic life.
Thank you so much. I know that Councilmember Brewer has a question.
Thank you very much for, Nyla, thank you, because you're picking up cases that others are not. We really appreciate it. What would you like Moya to focus on? And the same question for Catholic Charities. What, in other words, a new commissioner, to me, legal assistance is paramount, but there may be other issues that you think they should focus on.
I appreciated the question about further supports when a family has somebody who's been disappeared, because that is definitely what we're seeing. It's often the primary breadwinner, and there are many other supports in addition to legal services that a family often needs that we really can't. And so I thought that was a really insightful addition, because that's certainly something we're seeing in the community.
Thank you. Catholic Charities?
Yes, agreed. And as we know, much of the legal services across the city and the state have been gutted because of federal cuts. And so obviously funding is an important piece to bring back very much needed legal services, as well as making sure to support a whole person. So I work directly with the day labor program, things like worker trainings, making sure there's robust.
Are people showing up for that? Or
They are, but at lower levels. And
numbers,
of
yeah.
course, yes. And of course, it's desperately needed. They're still working, and they're still going to face injury and death if they are not properly trained to work on construction sites. So it's making sure that they feel safe enough to come out to take to those trainings, and making sure to think about all of the pieces that are needed to support a family.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much to this panel. We're going to call up our next panel, Deborah Lee, Carla Ostalosa, and Sophie Dalzemer. Awesome. You may begin.
My name is Deborah Lee. I'm the attorney in charge of the Immigration Law Unit at the Legal Aid Society. Thank you, Chair Encarnacion and committee members, for this opportunity. New York City's sanctuary framework is built on a simple, non-negotiable principle. Everyone who lives here is entitled to safety, dignity, and equal access to our institutions. For decades, city law has drawn a firm boundary between municipal agencies and federal civil immigration enforcement so New Yorkers can work, study, seek services, and get help without fear. That separation is not charity. It is a core obligation of government and central to public safety. But that boundary is under attack now. Federal authorities have collapsed the distinction between civil and criminal immigration enforcement and ramped up information sharing that targets non-citizens. Branding detained non-citizens as criminals is not about public safety. It is a ruse to justify enforcement and detention, rooted in bias rather than risk. Recent reporting shows detained New Yorkers being falsely portrayed as dangerous, even though ICE's own data shows most people arrested in our city have no criminal convictions or pending charges. Meanwhile, the U.S. Department of Justice is recruiting deportation judges rather than immigration judges, signaling a clear abandonment of neutral adjudication. These federal shifts make strict adherence to New York City's sanctuary laws essential. When DOC, NYPD, or other city agencies share prohibited information or grant access without a judicial warrant, They do more than violate policy. They erode public trust, undermine their core missions, and funnel New Yorkers into a federal system that increasingly treats civil immigration matters as criminal threats. That is why the New York Immigrant Family Unity Project, NYFIP, is indispensable. Established in 2013 as the nation's first public defender program for detained immigrants, NYFIP, a partnership with Legal Aid, Bronx Defenders, and Brooklyn Defender Services, provides universal free representation so no detained New Yorker faces deportation alone, simply because they cannot afford a lawyer. We cannot wait for more New Yorkers to be detained by ICE. Prevention must be our focus, keeping people out of the deportation pipeline. Intros 55 and 261 strengthen our city's defenses by ensuring no agency, contractor, or staff member inadvertently or intentionally assists ICE. These protections must be paired with a reinvigorated Know Your Rights education effort and transparency whenever federal authorities seek city access or data. Community advocates have led this work for years, but now this must be scaled citywide again. Thank you to City Council for its longstanding investments, such as
Thank
NYFIP.
you. I'm sorry, I have to cut you off. I hate doing it, especially because I'm new to it, but I gotta keep it moving.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you very much.
Sophie.
Thank you to the committee and Chair Encarnacion for the opportunity to testify today. We are grateful to the City Council for your enduring support to the NYFIP program, which allows us to advance the rights of immigrant New Yorkers and keep families and communities together. The gravity of the situation for immigrants in New York City is almost beyond comprehension. As deportation defense advocates, we know that New York City's sanctuary laws are an essential tool to protect immigrant New Yorkers and families from increasingly cruel and severe harms that result from an ICE arrest. These harms have always been devastating, but are now more extreme than ever, and I'd like to describe some of those consequences. To start, ICE officers regularly deploy ruses to stop and detain New Yorkers on the street or forcibly gain entry into private spaces. Once stopped, many of our clients have been subjected to violent and aggressive arrest tactics, often leaving them injured and in some cases permanently disabled. After an arrest, ICE is rapidly transferring New Yorkers to detention facilities across the country where they lose access to their family and counsel. Notably, this tactic undermines NYFIP's ability to represent every detained New Yorker if they are transferred before we learn about them or if we're not able to access them at those facilities. The lack of access is just the beginning of the horrors that immigrant New Yorkers face in these detention centers. We frequently hear our clients report that conditions include freezing cold temperatures, blinding bright lights at all hours, rotten food, unhygienic spaces, and consistent deprivation of medical care, leading many of our clients to face deteriorating physical and mental health conditions. In the past, many of our clients have been eligible for release on bond while they fought their cases, but now our government is keeping most people detained without the possibility of bond, prolonging their detention for months and even years, unless and until we're able to secure release through complex federal court litigation. When immigrant New Yorkers do manage to have their day in court, they must contend with the administration's new strategies to curtail due process, to cut off rights to asylum for verifiable asylum seekers, to limit the ability to appeal their cases. And even if we win protection, ICE is consistently seeking to send our clients to third countries where they've never been before and have no ties. Now more than ever, the city's sanctuary laws must be upheld, strengthened, and meaningfully implemented to ensure that no more New Yorkers face these dire consequences and to keep our immigrant communities safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sophie.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Carla Ostolaza, and I'm the Managing Director of the Immigration Practice at the Bronx Defenders. For more than a decade, our attorneys, legal advocates, and social workers across our immigration, criminal, family, and civil action practices at the Bronx Defenders have represented New Yorkers whose lives and families depend on whether this city actually follows its own sanctuary laws. New York City has strong laws limiting collaboration between local and law enforcement and ICE, and while they can always be improved and their information disseminated, those laws exist to prevent exactly the harms we continue to see today. Unlawful coordination, people being pushed into the deportation system, and immigrant communities losing trust in the very agencies meant to protect them. Just last week, the Department of Correction told this council that it still interprets the sanctuary laws in a way that permits collaboration with ICE without a judicial warrant. That interpretation is flatly inconsistent with the law. Yet DOC has promoted it for years, resulting in New Yorkers being unlawfully transferred to ICE custody with no consequences for these violations. We see the same disregard for sanctuary protections in the use of joint task forces. One example is the case of our teenage client, Kelvin Servita Arocha. Kelvin was accused of kicking a police radio laying on the ground as he walked away from an altercation initiated by NYPD officers against a group of young Venezuelans in Times Square. While his criminal case was pending and without any violations of his release conditions, NYPD officers working alongside ICE agents stormed his apartment in the middle of the night, detained him, and sent him to immigration detention. That is precisely the kind of conduct New York City sanctuary laws are meant to prevent. Yet Kelvin was funneled directly into ICE custody through unlawful local federal collaboration. Kelvin later spoke publicly about what this did to him and his family. His life was upended, his family was traumatized, and there was no accountability for the agencies involved. This is to say, we need the New York City Trust Act. It is critical now to close these accountability gaps and to have some remedy for violations and deter future violations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Council members, any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next panel being called up, Children's Defense Fund Juan Diaz, Sierra Craft from My Care Coalition, Otto Howman from The Door, and Pantia Nori, also from The Door.
Thank you, Chair Encarnacion and members of the City Council Committee on Immigration for holding today's oversight hearing. My name is Juan Diaz. I'm the policy manager at the Children's Defense Fund New York. CDF is a national multi-issue advocacy organization working to improve the overall well-being of children and youth, with particular attention to those living in poverty. More than 1 in 3 New Yorkers are immigrants, and half of the New York City children have at least one immigrant parent. Immigrant and mixed status families' contributions are essential to the city's socioeconomic fabric. These families are experiencing fear, uncertainty to the evolving federal enforcement, and eligibility modifications to access essential programs and services. Today, CDF New York would like to highlight recommendations that have broad support from advocacy partners. We are grateful for the $55 million allocation for legal immigration assistance in last year's executive budget. However, the urgent need for immigration legal assistance calls for a significant increase. Ensure that immigrant families have access to universal free or affordable childcare, and that the childcare workforce, which has a large immigrant presence, is compensated accordingly. Also, support expansion of city FEPS housing vouchers, which will help reduce housing insecurity, especially among children. Additionally, CDF New York supports Intro 55 and Intro 261. We also urge the City Council to continue strengthening collaboration across city agencies to ensure that all New Yorkers, regardless of immigration status, language, and cultural backgrounds, have access to essential services and opportunities to thrive. Lastly, as the state legislature is discussing this year's budget, we ask the City Council to support New York for All and the Right to Representation Act. Both legislations would further increase protections and opportunities for immigrant and mixed status families in New York City. My written testimony has more detailed recommendations. Thank you.
Hi. Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. Thank you so much for holding this hearing and for your leadership in protecting immigrant New Yorkers. My name is Sierra Craft, and I'm the Executive Director of the I Care Coalition. iCare expands representation for unaccompanied immigrant children, and we lead a coalition of 13 legal service providers through the Unaccompanied Minors and Families Initiative and the SIDGE Initiative. So thank you for that continued support. We work with about 2,000 young people each year offering free legal assistance, and we're the coordinating body for those services. And right now, what we're seeing is the profound impact of the current climate of fear that is having on young people and their families. Every week, we're receiving calls from youth and caregivers asking the same question: is it safe to go to court? The immigration court is already a very complex and intimidating system, but the level of fear right now is fundamentally changing how families interact with public institutions. Young people are living with constant anxiety about what could happen to them or their parents. Many are struggling to focus in school. Some are having panic attacks and living with the daily fear that one of their parents may not come home. And at the same time, youth are being pushed to represent themselves in individual hearings now in immigration court, the stage where a judge decides whether they will be deported. And increasingly, they're not showing up. Not because they don't care, but because they're afraid of what will happen by simply traveling to court. For young people, navigating this will result in deportation, and could be life-threatening to them. So we're also seeing that family court cases where youth must obtain a guardianship under the special immigrant juvenile status to pursue protection, that parents and caregivers are not coming forward to serve as guardians for the same fear. Our youth need better and deserve better. And what we need is a public education campaign to push Intro 55 and 261 forward. Sanctuary protections are very critical in this moment, and they must also be enforceable. So passing the New York City Trust Act will also ensure that immigrant children and families can safely engage with our city courts and city institutions. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Pantea Nori. I am with The Door. The Door is a youth development agency that has been supporting vulnerable youth in New York City since 1972. I'm a paralegal with the Doors Legal Services Center, and in fiscal year 2025, we handled 2,538 immigration matters for young people between the ages of 12 to 24. Many of the young people we represent express an interest in going back to school and seeking higher education because it is difficult to do so back in their home countries due to family, cultural, or economic constraints. Going to school here represents an accessible means to pursue their passions and give back to their communities. The unlawful presence of ICE in certain sanctuary spaces, however, has made students fearful of attending school. Many of the students we work with have either dropped out of school or have chosen to miss classes out of fear of being deported or separated from their loved ones. We therefore welcome multilingual signage explaining the rights of students within educational spaces and believe such action would help alleviate their fears and allow students to learn in peace. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. My name is Otto Hallman, and I'm also a paralegal with the Doors Legal Services Center. Many of the young people we work with apply for Special Immigrant Juvenile Status, or SIDGE. This legal status applies to minors who have been abandoned, abused, or neglected by their parents, offering crucial protection to the young people who need it most. To be granted SIDGE, a young person needs to find a supportive adult willing to be their legal guardian. This can prove challenging, especially for youth who arrived in the United States as unaccompanied minors and do not have family members present. When a young person does find a relative, friend, or mentor willing to be their legal guardian, fear of the presence of immigration enforcement in family courts presents another barrier to obtaining legal status. My clients and their potential guardians often express fear of immigration enforcement in anticipation of their family court hearings. In one instance, my client's mother, who was seeking to be appointed as the legal guardian of my client, refused to attend an in-person family court hearing, which meant her daughter's family court proceedings would be dismissed and would ultimately prevent her daughter from filing for SIDGE. The pressure on immigrant communities and families is immense. Young immigrants, their relatives and friends are forced into an impossible situation where pursuing legal status entails the risk of becoming dangerously visible to immigration authorities. Clear multilingual signage on New York City sanctuary laws, particularly in family courts, would ensure that young people and their guardians will feel safer attending hearings as part of the SIDGE process. In the interest of protecting young people's right to obtain legal status, I urge the City Council to adopt today's proposed bill.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Wang, I really would like to hear more of your testimony in regards to the budget and our budget, preliminary budget hearing that'll be happening towards the end of this month. I really appreciate you saying that here today too. Thank you. The next panel, would like to call up Randy Ali, Khadijatu Mohammed. This one has tiny handwriting. I want to say it's Carissa Contz, possibly from the Arab American. Oh, I can't read it. Family Support Center. You were the backup for. Okay, all right. And then Van Zilo from Mistaka. Van? Oh, we'll give it a few minutes. So wait, so this is Van. Oh, I see. So not this one. Thank you. When you're ready.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair. Okay, we're going to say the name. Encarnacion. I did
Yes,
it.
perfect. Thank you so much.
And members of the Committee on Immigration, thank you for the opportunity to testify today on sanctuary protections for immigrant communities. I am Khadijatu Mohammed, and I am the Program Manager for Language Access at African Communities Together. African Communities Together is an organization founded by African immigrants for African immigrants, dedicated to ensuring that our communities and all New Yorkers can live with dignity, safety, and the opportunities within the city. Every day we work directly with newly arrived and long-standing African immigrant families, and we routinely support people who are afraid to go to school, file a police report, or seek medical care because they do not trust the city agencies will protect their information. We see employees and families intimidated by employers and landlords when immigration enforcement is too closely tied to city systems. For these reasons, we support Intro 55 and Intro 61 that would require the mayor's office to develop signage that clearly describes the legal protections about sanctuary rights. This is essential to ensure that sanctuary laws are real and enforceable. Our community members need to know they can safely access city services without fear. To further strengthen the city's sanctuary laws, we urge the council to close existing loopholes and codify stronger accountability measures. This includes prohibiting all city agencies and contractors from sharing non-public personal information with federal immigration authorities without a judicial warrant, limiting the collection and retention of immigration-related data unless legally required, and extending sanctuary protections to city-funded nonprofits and subcontractors. ACT stands ready to partner with the city to operationalize these protections, and we recommend increased investment in community-based Know Your Right trainings delivered in multiple languages tailored to high-impact sectors such as housing, labor, healthcare, and education. And ACT can provide certified interpreters for outreach events, assist with culturally responsive materials,
Okay,
and
thank you.
facilitate listening sessions. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Beth.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for giving us the time to speak to you today. My name is Van. I'm the community organizer at Mixteca, a community-based organization in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, that has served immigrant and Latin and indigenous communities for over 25 years. As an organization that provides direct services to the immigrant and indigenous communities, we see the need to preserve our sanctuary laws and to inform our community members of their rights. Last year, Mixteca was able to serve 1,000 community members in legal services with only 2 staff members on our legal team, and we were able to inform over 5,000 people of their rights when interacting with ICE. With New York City sanctuary laws being under attack and under threat, we need to remind our immigrant communities that they are still protected, that they still have rights, and this city is a sanctuary city. That's why we urge you to accept this local law, Intro 55, that would provide us with clear signage and description of the rights that people have in non-public government spaces, which would ease minds and create safety for our immigrant communities, especially when many of our community members are unaware that this type of protection exists. As an organization that facilitates Know Your Rights workshops, we have witnessed firsthand impact in the effectiveness of our outreach efforts. I've heard from several community members, from neighbors, continuously asking if it is safe to go to certain places in the city. We see the fear that they have to even go to the grocery stores. So they shouldn't have to fear going to the hospital, their children's schools, food pantries, or to community-based organizations like Mixteca. We are ready to do the work in informing our communities about these non-public government spaces and to remind them that New York City is a place that they can call home. All we just need is for you guys to support us in this. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Randy Ali. I'm the Executive Director of the Arab American Family Support Center, known as AAFSC. AAFSC serves roughly 20,000 people each year across New York City. Over 70% of our clients were born outside of the United States, and many come from historically underserved communities. AAFSC is a MOIA established legal support center. We create safe and supportive spaces and are a trusted resource for immigrants in a new city. We work with families who are experiencing language barriers, cultural differences, and mistrust of systems that have historically targeted them. That is why trusted community-based organizations like AAFSC and our partners play such a critical role in making sure immigrant New Yorkers have access to Know Your Rights information. Since I started in this position in September, I've witnessed our staff, many of whom are also immigrants, respond to a surge in fear, need for basic assistance, and mental health challenges in the communities we serve. This growing need comes from inhumane federal immigration policies, hostile anti-immigrant rhetoric, cuts to public benefit, rising food and housing insecurity, and a spike in anti-Muslim and anti-immigrant hate. Our communities are increasingly being targeted. We see this in incidents like the recent attack on young Muslim women in Bay Ridge. Fear in our communities is profound. Mixed status families are increasingly choosing to self-deport rather than risk detention or separation by ICE, tearing families apart, even those in the middle of a family reunification process. We have seen a sharp decline in community members applying for naturalization. This year, we did not host our annual citizenship celebration, usually a joyous occasion because so few members of our community took the exam. Some were afraid to take the test, and others had their scheduled tests paused due to new restrictions. For families traumatized by conflict in their home countries and concerned about growing conflict in the Middle East, seeking legal help can feel like an additional threat to safety. Families also face rising application fees, long wait times, and widespread misinformation. Our community needs to know their rights and to know their city is protecting them. This legislation will empower them to make the right legal decisions to protect their families. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. The next panel will consist of Dave Bassnett from NYIC, Rabbi Adam Graubart, Zachary Ahmad, New York Civil Liberties Union, and Noel Peñas from the New York Lawyers for the Public Interest. Hi. Oh, my friends.
And the members of the committee for holding this public hearing. My name is Noel Peñas, and I'm the Health Justice Community Organizer at New York Lawyers for the Public Interest. At NILPI, my colleagues and I work to address the human rights crisis in immigration detention and to advocate for healthcare for all New Yorkers, regardless of immigration status. We have heard repeatedly from clients who need and are eligible for life-sustaining medical care, but are hesitant to seek healthcare for themselves and their family members at local hospitals due to this fear of immigration enforcement, including disclosure of their private information. We have also heard from medical providers about the lack of guidance and support within their institutions as they endeavor to provide necessary care to their patients, particularly those who are in civil immigration custody. It is difficult for our clients to feel safe seeking care when ICE repeatedly enters our public hospitals without warning or public acknowledgement to the community or clear guidelines to medical providers. This mistrust is compounded when the community learns that our public hospital system has long-standing contracts with Palantir, a technology company with an active $30 million federal contract to identify, track, and deport our immigrant neighbors. This is why we support Intro 55 and 261 and other sanctuary policies like the New York City Trust Act. These actions are critical to preserve access to healthcare for all New Yorkers. We express our support for legislation that would empower our most vulnerable community members with access to information about their rights. And we also support the Trust Act, which would prohibit collaboration between the city and immigration authorities. This is essential to maintaining trust in our institutions, supporting public health measures, and ensuring the safety of all New Yorkers when seeking care. We urge the council to pass these critical policies, and we also further suggest passing bills that would mandate hospitals to enact safeguards for patients in ICE custody and their medical providers. Given the rising disappearances from ICE, it is now more important than ever to rebuild the bridges of trust between immigrant communities and city government. Thank you again for your support of our work and our clients, and we look forward to continued partnership protecting our communities and their health.
Hello, I'm Rabbi Adam Graubart. Today I'm speaking on behalf of myself and not as a representative of a synagogue. I'm also a proud member of Jews for Racial and Economic Justice. The federal administration's treatment of immigrants constitutes a moral crisis, and I reject our city government playing any role in the violence happening to our immigrant neighbors. I appreciate the existing restrictions against collaboration with ICE, but the City Council must swiftly pass the Trust Act to ensure that we are protecting immigrant New Yorkers in our fullest capacity. We've seen numerous violations of our current laws, and immigrants have taken the hit. Jewish tradition teaches about accountability. In fact, Jewish communities dedicate an entire season each year towards Heshbon HaNefesh, accounting of the soul, in which every person evaluates their past actions against what is kind and just. In Leviticus, the Israelites received the charge, Tochiach et amitecha, reprove your fellow when they have done wrong. These particular principles shape my view of how to achieve universal justice. When harm occurs, each of us can name it and work to address it. In this way, the individual may learn and grow, while the society avoids repeating the negative consequences of the behavior. When government workers endanger immigrants, we need to empower individual New Yorkers to call out violations of the law and prevent perpetual harm. That's why we must pass the Trust Act now. Jewish text and history also teach me that everyone is better off when we embrace the migrants in our midst and what they have to offer our society. Therefore, in addition to advancing the Trust Act, I ask the City Council to close loopholes in existing sanctuary protections by passing Introduction 55 and Introduction 261 as soon as possible. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Zach Ahmed. I'm a senior policy counsel at the New York Civil Liberties Union, and we are a member of the ICE Out NYC Coalition. The NYCLU has long been a defender of and an advocate for strengthening our city's sanctuary laws. New York City's laws and policies keeping the city out of the business of immigration enforcement are a proud distinction for our city, which has always been a magnet for immigrants from across the world. Our city is in a moment of hopeful transition as we move from a mayoral administration that actively sought to undermine our sanctuary laws to a new administration that has already begun to take tangible steps towards ensuring these laws are properly implemented through the issuance of Executive Order 13 and the establishment of the Interagency Response Committee. It is welcome and encouraging that this committee, under new leadership, chose to begin its work by examining the state of our sanctuary city protections and considering legislation to bolster them. We are grateful for the Council's continued oversight to ensure that New York City is keeping its promises to the millions of immigrants who call the city home. Hopeful as this moment is, as the committee undertakes that task, it must be clear-eyed about the many instances that advocates and the city's own Department of Investigation have uncovered where sanctuary laws were clearly violated. Some of those examples were discussed at length in a separate committee hearing just days ago, and it is safe to assume that there are many other examples over the years that simply never came to light. The committee must also not overlook the significant gaps in the way that our loopholes and vaguely worded exceptions undercut the effectiveness of sanctuary laws. As meaningful as New York City's sanctuary protections have been over several decades, they remain beset by exceptions that allow for collusion with ICE based on a person's past criminal legal system contact, and that permit opaque task force arrangements that continue to keep local officers in contact with federal immigration enforcement. Two bills on today's agenda, Intro 55 and Intro 261, are a positive step in that direction, but we still need more. The Council must prioritize passing the New York City Trust Act, Intro 209, and create a mechanism to hold key city agencies accountable that violate our laws for misconduct, and incentivize them to take those laws seriously. The Council must also revisit legislation to remove the confusing and misguided criminal carve-outs that exist in our city's detainer laws, which not only impose double punishment on people who satisfied their sentences, but also invite mistakes that unlawfully funnel people into ICE custody. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Encarnacion and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today on the key legislation and critical steps that this body has to take to make sure that New Yorkers are both aware of their rights and ensure that mechanisms for accountability are created for New Yorkers if city agencies violate their rights. My name is Dave Bassnett, and I'm the Senior Immigration Rights Policy Manager at the New York Immigration Coalition, a coalition of more than 200 immigrant and refugee organizations advancing access to public services, inclusion, and justice. Today's hearing and proposed legislation recognizes that laws alone are not enough and that New Yorkers must know their rights in order for those protections to have any real meaning. New York City has reliably been a national leader in upholding our municipal protections for immigrant communities through our longstanding sanctuary laws fought for by this very same body, but those protections only work when New Yorkers, city workers, and institutions clearly understand them. At a time when fear and confusion about federal enforcement increases, New York NYC hopes that this hearing leads the Council to take necessary steps to strengthen transparency, rebuild trust between immigrant communities and city government, and ensure that accurate information about legal rights and city policies is consistently accessible across our public institutions. By focusing on education and visibility, the Council can help ensure that those protections that are already written into city law are fully realized. Today, NYC, alongside the ICE Out NYC Coalition, is testifying on behalf of Intro 55, the New York City Know Your Rights Act, and calls for the swift passage and action by this body on Intro 209, the New York City Trust Act. We offer our strong support for Intro 55. This bill would require the Commissioner of Moya, in consultation with the city's law department, to develop signage that identifies non-public areas of city property and outlines the rights individuals may invoke when interacting with federal authorities. In NYC, steers the Education Collaborative, which is a coalition of more than 30 grassroots organizations and practitioners working to improve these things. And from an education perspective, Intro 55 would strengthen trust with school communities by ensuring that all students, families, and staff clearly know their rights. We look forward to the Council acting on the New York City Trust Act and the New York City Know Your Rights Act. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all. Our next panel, calling up Shelly English, Jasmine Ladley from Santu. I'm so sorry. I thought there was an L. It's the handwriting. Dr. Betty from Health Justice for NY, and Dr. Steve from Health Justice. And there you go. Thank you. When you're ready, you may begin.
Hi, my name is Shelly English. I'm here with other members of Health Justice for New York in support of Intros 55 and 261 with amendments. I'm the daughter of an immigrant. I'm a former New York City employee, and I currently serve as a New York State licensed mental health counselor. A doctor in France and a doctor in Italy in the early 1940s prevented the Gestapo from arresting and deporting my grandmother and mother to their deaths. Because of these doctors, I'm here today helping neighbors and patients I care for and care about in the city I call home. I'm honored to be surrounded by today's healers and to speak on behalf of Health Justice for New York. Immigrants and refugees in New York City and our nation are a vital and irreplaceable part of our history, our communities, and our economy. Immigrants create economic opportunity for those of us born within and outside the United States. Immigrants pay more in taxes than received in services, including healthcare. Immigrants are essential workers from building construction to food delivery to childcare, and immigrants are a cornerstone of healthcare workers, including doctors, nurses, hospital aides, home care attendants, and facility maintenance workers. Under the guise of immigration enforcement, more and more people are being lawlessly snatched off the streets by anonymous armed bullies en masse and brought injured to our emergency departments. Our family, friends, colleagues, and neighbors are increasingly fearful as patients or workers traveling to or spending time at healthcare facilities. As a trauma specialist who conducts psychological evaluations of immigrants seeking asylum, I'm an eyewitness to the fear and anxiety of patients afraid that ICE agents might show up at any time, anywhere to handcuff them and take them away to deportation centers. We urge that federal immigration enforcement agents and agencies stay out of all healthcare facilities except for limited access in narrow circumstances with verified legal documents. All patients and healthcare workers deserve privacy and safety in healthcare, including physical and mental safety and data protections. When federal immigration agents are present in healthcare facilities, they interfere with the privacy, safety, and care for all patients and staff.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Jasmeet Sandhu, member of Health Justice for NY Doctors Council Union. For Intro 55, we believe signage is important. Public healthcare facilities should be explicitly included, and existing worker-tenant rights signage should be expanded so that the information is widely distributed in public and private settings. Our members work in healthcare facilities across the city, including public hospitals that have had federal immigration agents on premises. These events, including detained people brought in by agents who injured them, have sown fear among patients and staff because we still lack clear policies and procedures in our facilities, and the signage and information to communicate these policies and procedures. We support Intro 55, including across all public healthcare facilities. This is including H&H. At Elmhurst Hospital, the facility that I work at, our facility is proud of our diverse staff, many who are immigrants. Elmhurst is also an academic hospital whose trainees include medical students on visas. Members are asking me what areas require a warrant for an agent to enter. What is a valid warrant? It is vital to make sure our staff and patients know what areas are public versus private, protecting our sick patients and their privacy. Members have also voiced clear signage would avoid confusion and prepare staff to follow the appropriate protocol for that designated area. The presence of ICE agents in our facilities does impact the care we can provide. Patients are delaying care, ending up in critical conditions because they are worried that they'll encounter an agent. Family members are too afraid to visit their sick loved ones for the same reason. Health Justice for NY has developed comprehensive guidelines for healthcare facilities. We urge the committee to review them. We also believe companion legislation is necessary to create more specific policies and procedures that are reflected in signage. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Betty Kolod, a primary care physician in East Harlem and a member of Health Justice for New York, also chair of the Board of Physicians for a National Health Program, New York Metro. I'm speaking in support of Intro 261. To protect the safety and privacy of patients and staff in healthcare facilities, the city must cancel and never initiate contracts with immigration enforcement entities. I'm particularly troubled that New York City Health and Hospitals contracts with Palantir, known to be heavily involved in federal immigration enforcement. My patient, Carmen, has liver cancer. Her devoted son is a mama's boy and takes her to chemotherapy and palliative care visits for the searing pain in her stomach. She has lived in Harlem for 35 years, so he was shocked to discover that Carmen does not have legal status. I was unaware too, because all low-income persons over the age of 65 in New York are eligible for Medicaid, regardless of their immigration status. Now that this understanding has emerged, Carmen has been missing appointments and has decided not to pursue a cure for her cancer. She cannot risk having her protected health information, including immigration status, unlawfully shared with federal agencies directly or via private entities, and has decided to die at home with dignity instead. Intro 261 would protect Carmen, and it could be made stronger. Public healthcare facilities like H&H and its Gotham affiliates should be named explicitly. The bill language should also be explicit that the city shall not procure goods or services from contracted entities engaged in immigration enforcement. Language should be added that existing contracts will be canceled if in violation of the intro, and that all existing contracts will be reviewed prior to renewal. Additional legislation should require public healthcare institutions to create clear policies and procedures for interactions with federal immigration agents. As Health Justice for New York, we will provide our policy recommendations in writing. Thank you for protecting us and our patients.
My name is Dr. Steve Auerbach. I am also a member of Health Justice for New York. I'm a retired U.S. Public Health Service officer with Federal Health and Human Services and also on the board of BNHP New York. We're healthcare workers speaking for over 1,000 members of Health Justice for New York in support of intros 55 and 261, though we do have some urged amendments. Health Justice for New York grew out of multiple organizations, including New York Doctors Coalition, founded in 2016 after that year's election. We're an informal collective of health workers and advocates providing expertise drawn from our lived experience and solidarity with social justice movements and our patients. We would urge that Intro 55 have some additional language explicitly naming, perhaps in Section C, explicitly naming health and hospitals and its Gotham affiliates. We would also ask that Intro 55 or other city legislation go further to include the private healthcare facilities, the so-called private voluntary hospitals and the clinics and the FQHCs and the rest, to protect health workers and help patients regardless of whether they are public or private. We urge this committee, along with others, appropriate city council committees, such as Committee on Hospitals, the mayoral offices and agencies working on immigration, to continue actively engaging health workers and advocates. We're here today because management at health and hospitals and management at the private hospitals have refused to protect their patients and their providers. They refuse to engage with activist employees who are aligned with the goals of this committee. And we are asking that the city government at all levels engage with hospital management, both public and private, to make sure that the sanctuary laws are actually applied. Thank you.
And the policies that you have copies to leave with us? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. We're now calling up Charles Brown from Lutheran Social Services of New York, Gurveer Singh Sidhu. Yes, please. Thank you. And Rabbi Marissa James. Only had 3 there, right? Oh. Sorry. And Brennan Pecor Brink from the Interfaith Center of New York. Hello. Once you're ready, you can begin.
Good afternoon, and thank you to the Committee on Immigration for the opportunity to testify. My name is Brennan Pecor Brink, and I serve as the Director for Migrant Outreach at the Interfaith Center of New York. Founded in 1997, the mission of the Interfaith Center is to overcome prejudice, violence, and misunderstanding by activating the power of New York's grassroots religious and civic leaders and their communities. I want to attempt to tell 2 brief stories that illustrate the need for Intro 55 and sound Know Your Rights trainings. An imam in our network called me. A congregant had just rushed into the mosque and headed straight to the restroom because he was sick to his stomach. The imam wasn't calling me over a simple stomach bug or food poisoning. No, the imam conveyed to me that the congregant had a sharp, urgent pain, like his stomach was splitting in 2. I said, Imam, I think you need to take the individual to an H&H hospital. There will be low or no cost. I know, the imam replied to me, but you don't understand, Brennan. He's too scared. He's scared ICE will be there or that the hospital will let ICE get him. While I could point to New York's sanctuary laws, I couldn't point to visible signs that the hospital had actually been trained on their rights and would exert them. So we didn't go to the hospital. The second story. Grassroots organizations now working with Hands Off New York have distributed Know Your Rights materials to over 7,000 NYC businesses. In my neighborhood, parents want to take the same model to distribute Know Your Rights signs and information to their schools. However, their schools aren't sure if they can accept and display these signs. They need guidance, simple, obvious guidance that affirms that our schools can tell every student they will be safe and that the school will work to keep them safe. In both of these stories, clarity and leadership from the city in the form of Intro 55 would support New Yorkers. It would give those sick the assurance that they can seek the care they need, a key public health support not only for immigrant New Yorkers, but all New Yorkers who benefit from healthy neighbors. Intro 55 would do the same in our schools, give students and families more confidence that their schools will properly understand and exert their rights and the rights of students. Again, this strengthens not only our education system for immigrant students, but all students. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Encarnacion and members of the Committee on Immigration. My name is Gurveer Singh Sidhu. I serve as a state policy manager at the Sikh Coalition, the nation's largest Sikh civil rights organization. I'm also here as the son of immigrants. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today in support of Intro 55 and 261. The Sikh Coalition was founded in the aftermath of September 11, 2001, to defend the civil rights of Sikh Americans and to ensure that people of all faiths and backgrounds can live free from discrimination and fear. Today, many Sikh New Yorkers, including asylum seekers, immigrants, and mixed status families, are directly affected by immigration enforcement policies and the growing confusion about their legal rights in their interactions with immigration authorities. Intro 55 addresses this gap by helping ensure that immigrant New Yorkers clearly understand their constitutional rights. When federal immigration authorities appear in or near city facilities, many individuals don't know what protections apply, what city policies allow, or how to assert their rights. Clear multilingual signage explaining these protections and identifying the boundaries between public and non-public spaces helps ensure that residents, families, and city employees understand the law and can act accordingly. We hope to see continued expansion of materials available in various languages spoken by our immigrant communities. Intro 261 is equally important. New York City resources shouldn't be used in ways that undermine trust between immigrant communities and local government. When immigrant New Yorkers fear that accessing local services could expose them to immigration enforcement, they're less likely to seek healthcare, send their children to school, report crimes, or access city programs. Sikhs who have experienced hate crimes or whose children experience severe school bullying should have the confidence in the respective institutions not to endanger them further. This erosion of trust harms families, weakens community stability, and ultimately undermines public safety. These issues carry particular significance for Sikh communities. Many Sikhs are visibly identifiable because of our articles of faith. Thank you for your leadership and the time to speak here today. We hope you pass this legislation to protect the civil rights of individuals.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Encarnacion, and to the committee and staff for holding today's hearing. My name is Charles Brown. I'm the director of the Immigration Legal Program at Lutheran Social Services of New York, and I'm here to testify in support of Intro 55. The Immigration Legal Program at Lutheran has provided high-quality legal services to New Yorkers for over 25 years. We have a focus in humanitarian relief, including assisting New Yorkers seeking asylum and special immigrant juvenile status. In our experience, federal immigration law is complicated and confusing. When you add the intersection of local, state, and federal laws, it can be nearly impossible to understand when it is legal or what is legal when it comes to immigration enforcement. Confusion about the law is then a breeding ground for disinformation and misinformation. As a result, community members, immigrants and otherwise, often lack accurate, clear, and current information about the state of the law. This misinformation can both create fear and can embolden questionable and illegal immigration enforcement tactics. This bill aims to remedy that information gap by providing clear signage in multiple languages and age-appropriate throughout the city, informing the community about key rights around immigration enforcement, city property, and city resources. Community visiting buildings with the signage and those working in the same building stand to benefit from clear information. The signage will also help ensure that New Yorkers understand the law, the first step in empowering them to assert their rights. For these reasons, Lutheran Social Services of New York supports this bill and its aim. Meanwhile, we urge the City Council to provide sustained investment in organizations on the ground serving our immigrant families, friends, and neighbors, such as through the Aslan and Pro Se Plus initiatives, and through the iCare Coalition, where legal service organizations such as Lutheran are expanding access to legal representation throughout the city. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Marisa James. I am one of the rabbis at Congregation Beit Simchat Torah, CBST, where our ARC Immigration Clinic is one of the largest pro se clinics in New York City. And we are the conveners of the New York City Pro Se Collaborative. I want to offer gratitude to the City Council for their consistent support. It's very good to be testifying to partners in this work rather than adversaries. We are an LGBTQ Jewish community with members who are immigrants and the descendants of immigrants, and the majority of the immigrant friends our clinic serves are LGBTQ+ and or HIV positive. Because of who we serve, we hear stories every day from some of the most vulnerable immigrants in this city. As asylum seekers from countries where LGBTQ+ people are discriminated against or attacked, they can experience the same bigotry here that they faced at home, and don't always trust organizations that support people from their country of origin or ethnicity. Many cannot even tell their community or their family the reason why they are seeking asylum here. They come here because of our protections of their rights. But if you don't know your rights, then you don't have access to your rights. Signs in simple, clear language that explain and reinforce the rights and protections immigrants have in New York City are important in as many languages as possible, in as many places as possible. Our staff often reassure immigrant New Yorkers that city government workers are mostly restricted from collaborating with immigration enforcement, but some of them are skeptical and, as a result, forego benefits that all New Yorkers, regardless of immigration status, are eligible to receive. The clear official signage in every possible kind of city building would go a long way to help convince some immigrant New Yorkers, much more than our reassurances. On top of this, many in our community are afraid to even leave home given the current immigration enforcement context and how they see this in the media. Signage in shelters, schools, and other New York City buildings that people pass through every day could make a real impact in reducing these fears. And just to say, my great-grandparents came to New York City and did not face this kind of a massive bureaucracy in a language they did not know. They never really became fluent in English, and yet they were New Yorkers who raised 3 more generations of New Yorkers. So I hope that what we can do and what you can do can help reduce that wall, or at least help people past that wall so that this generation of immigrants can raise the next 4 generations of New Yorkers. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now call up Samantha Sanchez from Common Cause, Tanya Matos from Unlocal, Barbara Lopez, also from Unlocal, Funmi Akinawano? Say it? Akinawano. Oh, I like that. Yep, you had it the first time. There you go.
Sorry. Good afternoon, Chair Encarnacion and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Samantha Sanchez, and I'm the policy manager with Common Cause New York. Common Cause is a nonpartisan watchdog organization dedicated to strengthening democracy, protecting constitutional rights, and ensuring government accountability. We appreciate the Council for holding this oversight hearing today and considering Introductions 55 and 261 at a time when immigrant communities in New York City are facing heightened fear and uncertainty due to increased federal immigration enforcement activities. New York City's sanctuary laws exist for a fundamental reason. Local government should serve its residents, not function as an extension of federal immigration enforcement. When residents fear that accessing services, entering government buildings, and interacting with city agencies could expose them to immigration enforcement, trust in government deteriorates. That erosion of trust discourages people from seeking services, reporting crimes, or engaging with public institutions, ultimately undermining public safety and effective governance. Intro 55 is an important measure for transparency and accountability. By requiring signage explaining constitutional protections, this legislation helps clarify the legal boundaries of governing access to city facilities. Intro 261 addresses another important gap. A city that has committed itself to sanctuary protections should not use taxpayer dollars to contract with entities engaged in immigration enforcement activities. Public procurement decisions should align with the city's legal commitments and policies. Aligning contracting practices with sanctuary policy strengthens the credibility of these protections and ensures that public funds aren't used in ways that undermines the city's own laws. Legislation alone won't solve these challenges, unfortunately. Effective sanctuary protections require clear agency protocols, proper training for city employees, and strong oversight for compliance. New York City has long been a leader in protecting immigrant communities, but real leadership goes beyond laws. It demands implementation. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Good afternoon, Chair Encarnacion, members of the Immigration Committee. My name is Fumi Kinawanu. I'm a senior policy analyst at the Federation of Protestant Welfare Agencies. We're an organization that advocates for economic security for New Yorkers, and we have a membership base of over 170 organizations who are human services agencies and members of faith-based institutions. And so we are here today to support Intro 55, because having prominently displayed signage that informs New Yorkers of their rights is essential to protecting all individual rights of New Yorkers across New York City, and particularly immigrant communities. And we are heartened to hear earlier today the Commissioner talk about all of the public information campaigns that do exist through MOIA. And but we are urging the city to make sure that we are educating immigrant communities both about their rights and protections as well as their privileges within through New York City government. And so we are advocating for an increase in funding for immigration legal services, as well as increasing Know Your Rights campaigns and for our human services agencies. Our members of both the faith-based institutions and the human services agencies are where people find community, practice their faiths, and receive direct services. And the changes in immigration policy, as well as funding, for example, for both the removal and then the restoration of funding for organizations like entities like AmeriCorps, which are instrumental to building up our human services sector, have had a huge impact on those agencies and their ability to provide direct services, as well as the constant fear within those organizations and the anxiety around having to address what they would do if CBP or ICE showed up at their doors. We are also advocating for increased public education, particularly around changes to public charge, which could have a chilling effect for immigrants when it comes to utilizing public benefits, and for increased funding to CCHR in order to operationalize a lot of public information campaigns through the city. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Chair Encarnacion and members of the Immigration Committee. My name is Tania Matos, and I'm the Executive Director of Unlocal, a nonprofit organization dedicated to serving New York's immigrant communities through immigration legal services and community education. Our team of lawyers, advocates, organizers, and social workers provide free services to immigrant communities across the 5 boroughs, including Know Your Rights workshops, New York State DREAM Act application support, legal representation, social work services, and community events. Through our work in the Pro Se Plus project and the Rapid Response Legal Collaborative, and our anti-detention approach that focuses on legal representation, equipping immigrant communities with the tools and emergency preparedness resources that need to respond safely and effectively in the event of federal immigration enforcement. Today, I'm here to express my strong support for Intro 55 and Intro 261. Through our work through the Dreamer Center, we're distributing Know Your Rights information and deportation defense materials. We have seen firsthand the value of our city's sanctuary protections and the resources available for immigrant communities. But these protections only work if people know they exist and all agencies follow the law. In recent months, we have heard increasing concern from community members about the presence of ICE in their neighborhoods and uncertainty about the role of the NYPD Police Department. Our communities deserve clear, visible information about their rights. Access to this information should be treated as a right, not a privilege. And Intro 55 ensures that people are informed of their protection in a clear and prominent way. It helps prevent the risk of unlawful collaboration between local agencies and federal immigration enforcement. I also strongly support Intro 261, which would prohibit New York City from contracting with entities engaged in immigration enforcement. The current deportation agenda is tearing families apart, and I thank you for introducing these bills. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Okay, the next person will have interpretation services, so there'll be 2 minutes and then 2 minutes added for the interpretation as well.
Buenas tardes, gracias a ustedes por la atención. Señorita Encarnación, mil gracias. Mi nombre es Bárbara López y tengo 48 años de migrante, 26 como ciudadana americana. La situación en mi comunidad empeora cada día más. Hoy estoy aquí para darle fe de lo que está sucediendo en mi comunidad de Sonsenpar. Y lo importante que es que aprueben las medidas necesarias y protección de los emigrantes. La actividad de ICE en mi vecindario ha aumentado en los últimos meses. El 25 de febrero, por ejemplo, los agentes de ICE entraron a mi edificio a las 4:15 de la mañana, tocando de una manera horrible. Tocaron todos los timbres. Como no les abrimos, patearon y empujaron la puerta. Subieron corriendo y gritando por los pasillos. Por suerte nadie salió. Como pude salir después, ellos estaban encubiertos. Los agentes continuaron realizando de la misma manera el operativo por las calles. Todos estaban en los apartamentos, estamos muy asustados. Seguimos temiendo a que regresen. No es justo que nos traten como delincuentes, que nos ataquen, que nos persigan. Solo somos emigrantes, trabajamos y contribuimos a la economía, damos vida a estas calles. Si no tenemos protección, nuestra comunidad desaparecerá. Necesitamos más protección, educación. Respétenos, somos seres humanos. Gracias.
Thank you. I'm interpreting for her. Thank you for your time and attention. I have been an immigrant for 48 years and a citizen for 26. And the situation in my community is getting worse every day. Today, I'm here to testify about what is happening in my community of Sunset Park and why it is important to pass more measures to protect immigrants. ICE activity in the neighborhood has increased in recent months. On February 25th, for example, ICE agents entered my building at 4:15 a.m. They rang all the doorbells, and when we didn't open the door, they kicked and pushed it. They ran upstairs and shouted in the hallways. Luckily, no one came out. When I was able to leave, I saw them on the street and they were in plain clothes. The agents continued to conduct operations in the area that day. All of us in the apartment were very scared and continue to fear that they will return. It is not fair that they treat us like criminals, that they attack and persecute us just because we are migrants. We are migrants who contribute to this economy and bring life to the street. If we do not have protection, our community will disappear. We need more protection and education about our rights. Please treat us like human beings.
Thank you so much. Gracias por venir y por hablar hoy. Ojalá que te veo pronto también en otras, ¿ok? Bye. Okay, next up we have Mary Fernandez. They know that it's going to be more people? Okay. Marianne. Okay. Marianne, come on down. Joyce Wong. Nat Mohi, Stephanie Kwong, and Ramin Sadiq. Ramin Sadiq. One, two, three, four. One more. Oh, she's here. All right, I think we're ready now. You may begin.
Yes. Good afternoon, Chair Encarnacion and members of the Committee on Immigration. Thank you for this opportunity to testify. My name is Joyce Wong. I'm the Immigration Program Coordinator at the Korean Community Services of Metropolitan New York, KCS. Since 1973, KCS has served as a vital resource for immigrant New Yorkers, providing culturally and linguistically tailored services in public health, mental health, education, workforce development, and immigration legal services. We are proud members of the RISE Network, a coalition of nearly 20 Asian-led organizations serving our city's immigrant community. Through our Immigration and Legal Services Department, we see firsthand how language barriers and misinformation dictate whether community members feel safe accessing public services. Many of our Asian Americans community members, particularly seniors, are hesitant to enter city buildings because they cannot distinguish between public and restricted areas. In a time of heightened national enforcement, providing clear information regarding constitutional rights is not just helpful, it is a necessity for public safety. To address these challenges, KCS supports the following measures. Intro 055 provides essential transparency regarding the city's legal landscape. This bill establishes clear protocols that reduce the risk of unintended interactions with immigration enforcement. And also, we support Intro 261, ensuring that public trust is the foundation of strengthening city-community relations. This bill maintains a clear boundary between city operations and immigration enforcement, allowing the city to manage its local programs without outside interference. In closing, KCS and the RISE Network are vital to the city's service network. Our cultural and language expertise ensures that public resources reach our communities effectively. We look forward to continue this essential work together. Thank you for your leadership and your commitment to protecting our immigrant and communities.
Thank you, Chair Encarnacion and other members of the Committee on Immigration for holding this hearing and providing us with the opportunity to testify at this time when immigrant New Yorkers feel extremely vulnerable. I'm Mary Archana Fernandez, Director, Family Support Services at SACS, South Asian Council for Social Services, a community-based organization located in Flushing, Queens. I'm here to testify with partners from the Rapid Immigration Support and Empowerment RISE, a network of nearly 20 Asian-led and Asian-serving organizations that provide immigration case management and legal services to New Yorkers. SACS works to empower immigrant communities through services in the areas of healthcare access and education, senior support services, food security, mental health services, and connection to benefits. We also have a workforce development program. All our services are free and provided by culturally competent staff that speak 20 different languages. In the last 25 years, we've built a relationship of trust with our clients by continuously adapting services during crisis, be it 9/11 or the COVID-19 pandemic. Most of our clients are immigrants with limited English proficiency, fixed incomes, often living in isolated communities and reluctant to access services due to language barriers. CBOs such as ours are places that immigrants trust and come to seek life-affirming services. We've been providing in-person legal services since 2021 through the CUNY Citizenship Now initiative. Through this initiative, we've been able to assist community members seeking a range of immigration and naturalization-related services, from renewing their green cards to FOIA requests. While CUNY provides the legal assistance, our staff assists clients with translations, arranging documents, and looking for additional resources. However, in the past 1 year, given federal-level immigration policies and enforcement, we've seen a rise in clients asking for help for a variety of issues. Much of this includes reading and understanding correspondence received from USCIS. Our clients do not only need the assistance of an immigration lawyer, but they also need in-language support. for doing things like opening an USCIS account, paying an online fee. I've submitted a written testimony. I hope you get to it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Encarnacion and members of the Committee on Immigration for holding this hearing and for the opportunity to testify. My name is Stephanie Kwong, Deputy Director of the Social Service at Homecrest Community Services. Homecrest provides community-based social services to low-income, limited English proficient, AAPI older adults, families, and immigrations across 4 centers in southern Brooklyn. Today, we're testifying alongside our partners at the Asian American Federation RISE Network, a coalition of nearly 20 Asian-led and Asian-serving organizations that provide immigration and legal support to New Yorkers. At Homecrest, we provide hands-on immigration case management. Our staff help immigrant clients complete green card renewal and naturalization applications, gather supporting documents, provide language support, follow up throughout the application process, and connect them with trusted legal partners when needed. For many limited English proficient older adults, this kind of support in overcoming administrative barriers can mean the difference between missing critical deadlines and successfully moving forward in the immigration process, maintaining their status and building greater stability for themselves and their families. We also conduct multilingual outreach and tabling, including Know Your Rights education, to help community members understand their rights and protections in situations involving immigration enforcement and stay informed about changing immigration policies. We thank the Committee on Immigration for its continued leadership in protecting immigrant New Yorkers. To sustain and strengthen this work, we recommend that the City Council first expand investment in language accessible legal services that include case management. Second, ensure that local and state agencies fully comply with sanctuary laws. We also support Introduction 55, sponsored by Councilmember Alexa Aviles, to require multilingual signs clearly outline immigrants' constitutional rights. Thank you. Yes, I heard the buzzer. I was like, ah!
Thank you, Chair Encarnacion and members of the Committee on Immigration for holding this hearing and for providing us with the opportunity to testify today. My name is Nat Mogay, my pronouns are they, he, and I am the Advocacy Coordinator with the Asian American Federation, where we proudly represent a collective voice of over 70 member organizations serving 1.5 million Asian New Yorkers. I'm honored to testify alongside our RISE network today and would love to talk about the current immigration legal landscape for Asian New Yorkers. So the current presidential administration has implemented significant policy changes affecting immigration at all government levels. In New York State, 24% of unauthorized immigrants are from Asia, with arrests rising dramatically. 1,044% for Chinese immigrants and 1,000% for Bangladeshi immigrants between 2024 and 2025. ICE's aggressive tactics have disrupted families and inhibited access to essential services. And as threats escalate, local and state agencies must avoid supporting the federal deportation agenda and develop solutions to inform immigrants of their rights. Additionally, support for CBOs, community-based organizations, is crucial to protect and serve those at risk of wrongful detention. We thank the Committee on Immigration for its continued support and leadership when it comes to protecting immigrant New Yorkers. And we support Intro 0055 as well as Intro 261. We also recommend the Council to protect and expand funding for the following initiatives: legal services for AAPI communities, legal services for day laborers and domestic workers, and the immigration legal services for survivors of violence and gender-based harm. We also support the passing of the New York City Trust Act and suggest the expansion of investment in language-accessible legal services. We also would love for the Council to continue support AAF's coordination of the RISE network. Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, good afternoon. My name is Ramin Sadiq. I'm a staff attorney at Council of People's Organization, also known by the acronym COPO. I appear today on behalf of COPO, which is a nonprofit organization that serves low-income immigrant families and others across New York City and endows them to reach their full potential as productive and healthy members of the community. COPO supports Introduction 55 for the following reasons. First, the bill enhances constitutional awareness and serves a critical due process function. Second, the bill contributes to operational transparency by mandating the development and posting of standardized signage, identifying non-public areas of city property. The bill provides clear boundaries for both the public and city staff. Third, the bill promotes administrative consistency and combats misinformation. In a period of heightened enforcement and shifting federal policies, official city-sanctioned signage would provide reliable guidance to New Yorkers. Fourth, the bill delivers language justice, ensuring that New York's diverse immigrant population can benefit from the signage protocol. Fifth and finally, Introduction 55 is a common sense measure that requires no new substantive legal powers. It simply ensures that the laws this council has already passed are effectively communicated. COPO also supports Introduction 261 and does so for the following reasons. First, as a market participant, New York City has the legal right to decide which entities it will and will not conduct business with. This bill does not regulate federal immigration law. Rather, it dictates the use of the city's own proprietary resources. Second, the council has the authority to ensure that municipal assets, personnel, and services are used in a manner consistent with the city's values and the welfare of its residents. Third, engaging with immigration enforcement in the manner prohibited by Introduction 261 may create a chilling effect that erodes public trust and deters immigrant New Yorkers from accessing essential city services, reporting crimes, or cooperating with local law enforcement. We at COPO have witnessed firsthand the terror instilled in the hearts of our neighbors, friends, and fellow New Yorkers as a result of the recent aggressive, destabilizing, and unnerving immigration enforcement tactics and policies. Introductions 55 and 261 build upon New York City's established sanctuary policies by reducing the informational asymmetry between New Yorkers and immigration enforcement agencies and by addressing the financial and contractual side of interagency cooperation. We urge the committee to recommend and the council to pass Introductions 55 and 261. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Encarnacion and the rest of the members of this committee for holding this hearing and giving us the opportunity to testify. My name is Mariam Shaib. I am the coalition organizer at the Arab American Association of New York, based in Bay Ridge. Since 2001, we have been proudly supporting migrants and ensuring that their rights are protected. I want to highlight the importance of Intro 55, 2026, which asks the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs to create signage that clearly distinguishes between public and private spaces, including the rights community members are entitled to in both spaces throughout the city. Recent raids highlight a total lack of accountability as federal agencies continue to act with impunity across New York City's streets, indiscriminately abducting and aimlessly arresting many, quote, immigrant-seeming individuals as possible. Our streets have morphed into an unpredictable battleground for our community members with absolutely no accountability in sight. This must be stopped now. Installing conspicuously clear signage in multiple languages, including Arabic, Cantonese, and Spanish, 3 of the most spoken language in Bay Ridge, serves as an absolute bare minimum for ICE and other federal agencies to be held accountable, while also making our most vulnerable community members aware that they will be protected in public and private spaces. For many years, we have worked with the City of New York to provide resources to community members across the city. There is a mutual understanding of the urgency of protecting immigrant rights. Intro 55 leaves absolutely no room for interpretation on the logistics of a detainment. While this bill ensures that targeted communities are made aware of their inalienable rights in a given interaction with federal agencies, it also puts federal agencies' impunity on full display if they choose to neglect those rights. It is vital for the City of New York to take the necessary steps to protect its residents from unlawful attacks by ICE and other federal agencies by codifying measures that prevent collusion between federal immigration authorities. Thank you so much for speaking, and I really hope you do take the steps necessary to protect all New Yorkers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. The next panel that I'm calling up consists of Leslie Allen, Eduardo Antonetti, Esther Lim, and Katia from the Children's Law Center. We're missing one, right? Oh, there she is. Okay, perfect. You may begin.
Esteemed Chair Encarnacion and members of the Committee on Immigration, my name is Dr. Eduardo Antonetti, and I'm the Senior Director of Advancement for Internationals Network. Internationals Network is a education nonprofit organization with more than 20 years of success in supporting immigrant and refugee students in New York City public schools, and based on 40 successful years of New York City International High Schools. There are 17 international schools in New York City, and we have supported an additional 20 schools with their newcomer population since 2024. Thank you for the opportunity to offer testimony on sanctuary protections for immigrant communities. I speak to you today as an educator and want to focus our attention on our immigrant students, their families, and our school communities. We see firsthand that current federal immigration policies are fueling fear, trauma, and instability for immigrant and refugee students across our partner schools. Many students are afraid to attend school because they and their families are afraid of being detained, separated from loved ones, or deported. Many families have been forced to move between shelters and have had their lives disrupted. Teachers and school social workers report that students who make it to school often break down in tears, unable to concentrate and focus on learning, putting their graduation and future plans at risk. This crisis is devastating to the mental health and well-being of our school leaders and educators who are trying so hard to protect and care for their students. We commend the members of this committee, our partners at the New York City Department of Education and Project Open Arms, for establishing policies and procedures and for providing training and resources to our schools so they know how to meet the needs of our immigrant students. But it is still not enough. The level of awareness and readiness across the system is uneven, and the legal and emotional support demands of our students and families far exceed supply. It is imperative to ensure that all school leaders are provided clearer guidance on ICE enforcement around schools, and that schools and the New York City public school system plan actively for safe passage for students to and from schools and on trips, and more explicit guidance on the shelter in place in case of ICE activity at dismissal time, keeping in mind the complexity of co-locations. Please count on Internationals to be your partner and to support you in your efforts. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and council members on the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today about the implementation of New York City sanctuary local laws and the critical role of immigrant legal services. I'm Esther Lim, the director of the immigration practice at Her Justice, a nonprofit organization that has advocated for women and gender minorities living in poverty in New York City for over 30 years. In 2025, Her Justice provided legal assistance to more than 4,000 women and their children in family, matrimonial, and immigration matters. 92% of our clients are women of color, and 85% are survivors of domestic violence. 3/4 of our clients were born outside the United States, coming from 103 countries around the world. Our immigration practice provides free legal assistance to survivors of domestic violence, sex trafficking, labor trafficking, and other forms of gender-based violence through U-Visa, T-Visa, and VAWA self-petition applications. Last year, our attorneys handled 2,058 immigration matters and secured legal status for 802 clients and their children. In 2020, Her Justice helped lead passage of the New York State Protect Our Courts Act, which prevents ICE courthouse arrests and helps immigrant survivors safely pursue relief in family court. Despite this progress, due to heightened immigration enforcement tactics, many survivors of domestic violence and gender-based violence still fear that seeking help could expose them or their families to family members to immigration consequences. As a result, some survivors hesitate to attend court or interact with government offices. The Council's Immigration Legal Services initiatives, such as the Immigrant Opportunities Initiative and the Immigration Legal Services for Survivors of Survivors of Violence and Gender-Based Harm initiative, are instrumental in ensuring that immigrant survivors can stabilize their status and rebuild their lives. Her Justice is responding to heightened immigration enforcement and evolving federal policies by expanding outreach and know your rights education to ensure immigrant survivors understand their rights and know where they can safely seek help. Her Justice supports Intro 55 and Intro 261, requiring clear multilingual signage explaining legal rights and prohibiting city contracts with entities involved in immigration enforcement will help reduce fear and reinforce trust so survivors can safely access services and legal protections. We thank the city for your initiative.
Good afternoon. I would like to express my gratitude to Chair Encarnacion and to the Committee on Immigration for holding this important hearing and for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Katya Skoko. I am a youth guardian paralegal at the Children's Law Center, CLC, a nonprofit law firm in New York City that has represented over 185,000 children in child protective legal proceedings in a family court since 1997. I appear before you today to say that CLC supports the decision to pass both Intro 55 and 261. Our position is based on our experience in representing New York City youth who are seeking special immigrant juvenile status in the United States. Increased arrests at courthouses are eroding trust in institutions that are meant to protect immigrants. For example, our clients' guardians are reluctant to complete necessary pre-hearing procedures such as fingerprinting out of fear that they will encounter ICE agents at the courthouse, leading to delays in long-awaited safety and justice for immigrant children and youth. Promoting awareness of constitutional rights and how to respond in encounters with these immigration officers through adopting Intro 55 can help address the widespread fear and misinformation that are negatively impacting such processes. We urge the committee to ensure that all signage is age-sensitive and accessible to children and youth with all disabilities. Passing Intro 261 can send a strong message that the increase in immigration enforcement is not an opportunity for financial gain, but rather a chance for New York City to be courageous and to defend its status as a sanctuary city. Financial resources should be used to do everything we can to protect immigrant children and youth, especially to ensure access to free legal resources for obtaining documentation. With funding from the New York City Council, in less than 6 months, we have represented more than 140 immigrant youth with a 100% success rate, helping them obtain the necessary order from family court, our first and crucial step toward lawful immigration status. In this critical time, we hope we can rely on the committee to continue advocating for financial support and accessible legal representation for New York City's immigrant children and youth. Thank you for this opportunity to contribute to the committee's decision-making on these important matters and to share our work. Thank you.
Good afternoon to the committee. My name is Leslie Allen, pronouns she, hers, and I am the Director of Legal Services at the New York City Anti-Violence Project. I want to express my gratitude for your ongoing support of our work as we lead New York's LGBTQ and HIV-affected survivors of violence. AVP has long been at the forefront of our fight against hate and oppression, offering critical support for the LGBTQ survivors of violence. Our legal services focus on immigration, and we offer our voice on behalf of queer immigrant survivors. We thank the Mayor and Council for standing up to protect our immigrant communities. For too long, city agencies, especially the NYPD, have colluded with ICE enforcement behind the scenes despite the city's sanctuary policies. AVP runs a 24-hour crisis hotline for queer survivors of violence. We hear stories every day of how the fear of ICE is preventing domestic violence victims from seeking government resources to enable leaving their abusers, of how it's keeping sex workers who are being exploited from stepping forward, and how it's keeping LGBTQ survivors of violence from pursuing their winnable immigration cases because they rightfully see the potential for any governmental system, any government support, to be a hidden trap. The coming months and years will likely see new waves of ICE activity in New York. Many of our clients are deeply terrified and see themselves as lacking protection, but they do have rights. Rebuilding trust will be a long process, but the journey starts with simple steps. By creating better signage and a private right of action, immigrants can learn to trust New York City as a place where justice is still possible, while nationally, respect to due process is corroding. AVP is bringing these threatened communities into engagement with city government and social services. Recently, we've begun outreach in Jackson Heights and Corona, as part of a grant from the Mayor's Office of Nightlife, trying to reach queer immigrants at their places of work. We're also collaborating with trans-Pacific health clinics to reach survivors where they already receive support. The passage of the NYC Trust Act is a tangible, meaningful step that we can highlight to empower our fearful clients to access the services they need to improve the conditions of their lives. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Thank you all for your work. The next panel, I believe it's the last in-person panel. Arlette Cepeda. You made it. Lailis de la Rosa, Vincent Hickory or Rickery, not sure. Hickey, Hickory. Mia Casillas and Alberto Oliart. If anyone is here who has not filled out a witness form, please do so. You can do so right now with the Sergeant at Arms. When you are ready, you can begin.
I'll start. Okay, here we go. Hello, good afternoon, Chair Encarnacion. As members of the committee, my name is Arlette Cepeda. I am the Interim Executive Director of La Colmena, an immigrant workers center based in Staten Island. We have been serving immigrant workers and their families since 2014. First, I want to welcome Commissioner Faisal Ali that was here earlier this morning, and I want to make sure that we express that we're super excited to work together to ensure immigrant communities across New York City remain protected. La Colmena works directly with immigrant workers and families every day. Our center provides job training, know your rights education, and community organizing that helps immigrant New Yorkers navigate systems while building collective power. Staten Island is often overlooked in citywide conversations about immigration and ICE enforcement. Yet our borough has experienced the fastest growth in foreign-born residents in New York City over the last 2 decades, with the population increasing more than 35% between 2000 and 2020. Today, 1 in 3 Staten Island residents are foreign-born, with large communities from Mexico, Central America, West Africa, Sri Lanka, and Liberia, many concentrated in the North Shore where we work. Despite this growth, Staten Island has far fewer immigrant services and legal resources than any other borough. As immigration enforcement has intensified nationally, fear has also increased locally. Last year, when ICE agents were reported in Port Richmond, La Colmena mobilized volunteers and community members to make sure that we had an ICE watch. We ensured residents had accurate information and understood their rights. Around the same time, we were helping a rally for local. Anyhow, thank you so much. We did submit our testimony in writing. Thank you for listening.
Good afternoon, Chair Encarnacion and members of the committee. My name is Ladies de la Rosa, and I am the organizing coordinator of La Colmena in Staten Island. La Colmena's mission is to empower immigrant workers through organizing, education, culture, and equitable economic development. Ensuring that our community knows their rights is a key part of this mission, and we are committed to sharing that information with the workers and the families that we serve. So for this reason, we encourage the Council to pass Intro 55 and Intro 261. We must work together to ensure that New York City is a safe place for immigrant communities, encouraging them to interact with city agencies without fear of deportation. Public resources should be used to serve and support our communities, not to assist immigration enforcement and intimidating them. New York City should not financially support systems that criminalize people based on their immigration status. At La Colmena, we have seen the impact that immigration enforcement has had on our communities in Staten Island. Many parents and community members are afraid to reach out to their children's school councils, report crimes, or seek resources and support from the community because they do not feel safe. Immigrants often do not know their rights when approached by federal agents, and clear signage in multiple language will help immigrant New Yorkers, better understand the legal protections and feel more confident accessing city spaces and services. When immigrants feel safe, they are more likely to report hate crimes, seek support from community resources, and engage with local institutions and services. These protections help make our city safer and more inclusive for everyone. We urge the New York City Council to pass Intro 55 and Intro 261 to ensure immigrant New Yorkers are informed of their rights and protected from harmful immigration enforcement. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Hello, I'm Alberto Oliart, a tenant organizer and member of Workers Strike Back, a nationwide organization of working people fighting to shut down ICE and military aid to Israel and win free healthcare for all by taxing the rich. As a tenant organizer, I have witnessed long lines outside of housing court in all boroughs, and I've talked to many undocumented immigrants that are being completely abused and harassed by their landlords. Our undocumented neighbors face the combined risk of homelessness with the risk of being targeted by ICE. Mayor Mamdani claims to be a socialist. The fact is that a socialist would stop this situation immediately. This is why we are here to demand citywide eviction moratoriums to protect immigrant families. The Democratic-controlled state legislature and city council, including all of the so-called progressive and DSA representatives, have been shamefully passive around this issue, doing next to nothing to stop ICE. The pathetic, self-congratulatory, and bureaucratic conversation that just took place with the Moya commissioner is actually an example of this. Over the past year, 9 memorandums of agreement have been signed between New York State and Trump's ICE. This is why Workers Strike Back is demanding that all city agencies be banned from sharing any information with ICE, with serious penalties such as firing heads of agencies. We also demand the rolling back of the repressive domain awareness system, a surveillance system that sends data from CCTV cameras, license plate readers, and facial recognition technology installed in all 5 boroughs directly to the phones of NYPD cops, and for which Mamdani has included a shocking $98 million in his budget. Mamdani has refused to build working-class movements that will materialize his demands and go even further in attending to the urgent needs of the working class. Instead, he endorsed strikebreaker Kathy Hochul, kept a billionaire Zionist police commissioner who is not our friend. He is continuing with the biggest demolition of public housing in New York City history, among other betrayals. This, along with the shameful inaction of progressive and DSA Democrats with regard to all of these questions, is why the working class needs the kind of leadership that independent socialist and Workers Strike Back founder Kshama Sawant brought to the Seattle City Council. Kshama Sawant is now running for Congress, and her victory would represent a nationwide opportunity for the working class to implement the strategy that won Seattle the nation's highest minimum wage and the Amazon tax to fund affordable housing. We need a general strike to stop ICE.
Thank you. Next.
When immigrants are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back.
Stand up, fight back.
Shut down ICE.
Shut down ICE.
Can we have quiet in the room, please?
Hello, my name is Mia Casesa, and I'm a UX designer and a member of Workers Strike Back. As a tech worker, I understand the critical role technology plays with regards to how law enforcement aids and abets ICE agents to surveil and track immigrants and other vulnerable populations. Democratic Mayor and Democratic Socialist of America leader Zoran Mamdani recently announced a budget that included $94 million to maintain the New York Police Department's domain awareness system. This is a sprawling Microsoft-based surveillance network that blankets all 5 boroughs so thoroughly it is dubbed the Ring of Steel. The network integrates CCTV cameras, license plates readers, and facial recognition technology, transmitting data directly to NYPD's phones. This system is one of the largest of any major city and was stewarded by Mamdani's appointed police commissioner, billionaire Zionist Jessica Tisch. Data reveals that ICE heavily relies on local agencies, and ICE arrests are substantially greater in states where city, county, and state police licensing and other departments cooperate with and share data with ICE. I'm here to demand New York City Council and Mayor Mamdani roll back the city's massive surveillance network, ban all local agencies from sharing any data with ICE, and enforce the law with serious penalties like firing agency heads, and enacting a citywide eviction moratorium to protect families targeted by ICE. This is the bare minimum elected representatives can and should do. Working people need courageous leadership and a true fight back that revolutionary socialist Kshama Sawant brought in her decade as the city council member in Seattle, Washington. Instead of funding police surveillance or Know Your Rights signage, during the 2020 BLM movement, Kshama's office also won a historic one-of-a-kind ban on police use of chokeholds and the so-called crowd control weapons. Kshama's opponent, Adam Smith, is bankrolled by Palantir, the dystopian corporation that contracts with ICE. Smith and the Democratic Party have paved the way for Trump's attack on immigrants and working people. This is why I'm a volunteer with Kshama Sawant's independent socialist anti-war campaign for Congress against Adam Smith. Electing Kshama to Congress will also be a historic step toward building a new party for the working class. And I urge working people in NYC to join us.
Thank you. Next. There's one more.
Testing? Okay. Know your rights this, know your rights that. Hello? ICE is murdering people. Rights mean nothing down the barrel of a gun. Hi, name's Vincent Hickey, not Hickory, and I'm a member of Workers Strike Back. All my life I lived in New York City, and I have my grandparents to thank for that. During the 1950s, my grandparents immigrated from Ireland to send money back to their families and to build their future here. Without them and their hard work, I would not have had the safe home and childhood that I did. I want safe, quality housing for all working class families and their children, which is why Workers Strike Back is demanding an immediate eviction moratorium for undocumented immigrants. However, a home is only as useful as your ability to return to it. ICE is terrorizing undocumented immigrants and American citizens. How many news reports and social media coverage of people getting kidnapped and murdered do the Democrats of the City Council need before they are willing to actually protect immigrants? Cut back on surveillance, full stop. New York City's Ring of Steel is a surveillance system supposedly intended to mitigate terrorism. What the Ring of Steel is actually used for is to collect data on ordinary working people, Americans, the undocumented, and activists, for the purposes of state repression. My question to Mayor Mamdani, the council members before me, and the cowards that left when public comment was opened is, do you really think strikebreaker Governor Hochul and Zionist Police Chief Sitch have the best interests of the American people in mind? They're the ones enabling ICE to run rampant in not just our city, but our state. Hochul may say she's against ICE, just like you, all the while expanding the corporate-owned surveillance system ICE uses every day to torture whoever they feel like. Which leads me to my last demand, banning all agencies and their associates from sharing information with ICE. If you actually care about standing up for immigrants against Trump's ICE, then taking away their access to data would go a long way in protecting not just undocumented and citizen alike, but it would also be protecting the expression of our First Amendment right. Get out ICE, get out ICE, get out ICE. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Just checking in one last time with our Sergeant at Arms to see that no one else put in a form to do an in-person testimony. Seeing none, we will now turn to our virtual panelists. For virtual panelists, once your name is called, a member of our staff will unmute you, and the Sergeant at Arms will set the timer and give you the go-ahead to begin. Please wait for the Sergeant to announce that you may begin before delivering your testimony. I will call our first virtual panelist, Nareesh M. Gee.
You may begin.
Good afternoon, everyone, and a big thank you to the committee for having me here today. My name is Nareesh M. Gehi, and I've been a practicing immigration lawyer for nearly 25 years. I've handled 27,000 immigration cases, and I'll just hit the nail on the head and move on quickly about the missing links of how we can bridge the gap and how we can make New York City better. And what is really missing and how we can kind of, include these little recommendations and make sure that immigrants are protected. Then number one requirement we need to have is we need to have a pickup hotline for immigrants. Now, what that means is that most of the time, when people get picked up, they're sent into local jails. And when they're sent into local jails, at that particular point of time, either the captain or the police stations, the immigrant staff in police stations is not very well trained. They will need training because sometimes they have a tendency of directly, handing over the immigrant or the person to ICE. And we need to be careful, and a lot of training is needed in that regard. So a legal department would be a must in that. Secondly, as far as landlords are concerned, if we need to give them subsidies to install cameras, so even if someone is scared in the building, he should not be opening the door. That'll help a lot. Thirdly, people need to be educated, immigrants, about the difference between judicial warrants and administrative warrants. Both of them are very different. We need to educate them by means of videos. Next, very important, the prosecution in criminal cases and the public defenders need to make sure that we encourage a lot of plea deals. Court systems need to be educated, especially the DA's office. It's better for a person to go to jail 11 months rather than agreeing to basically,
Thank you.
go
Your
for.
time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next. Okay, we are going to take a pause just to make sure that we can move forward effortlessly while we do the virtual hearing. So just give us one brief second.
Please stand by on Zoom while we get reconnected. Thank you.
Can I get a Zoom check?
Copy.
Copy on Zoom?
All right. Yes.
Thank you. And thank you to all of the people behind the scenes that are really helping us get this together. I'm going to call up the next virtual panelist, Marilia Richards.
You may begin.
Good afternoon, Chair Encarnacion and council members. My name is Marilia Richards, and I serve as the Managing Director at Kids in Need of Defense, or KIND, here in New York City. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. KIND works daily with unaccompanied and immigrant youth across all 5 boroughs, and we see firsthand the fear of immigration enforcement prevents children and families from safely accessing schools, courts, hospitals, and other essential city services. Too often, families simply do not know where the federal immigration authorities may enter, what areas of the building are public. Sorry about that. Or non-public, or what rights they may invoke if approached. This uncertainty alone keeps children from attending hearings, school days, or vital appointments. For these reasons, KIND strongly supports the Avila's Amendment, Introduction 55, which creates a uniform citywide requirement for clear multilingual signage in all city-owned buildings. Through our Know Your Rights programs, we know that children and families often struggle to recall complex legal information under stress. Having signage posted in centralized locations in schools, courts, shelters, and all city properties provides critical reinforcement at the exact moment a family may need reassurance or clarity. For many of our young clients who are required to enter various courts for their immigration cases, this can be the difference between safely participating in their process or avoiding buildings altogether out of fear. We also strongly support the bill's community education component, requiring the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs to proactively share these protections across ID NYC centers, emergency shelters, humanitarian response sites, and Link NYC kiosks. This outreach is essential for reaching newly arrived families and longstanding immigrant communities alike. The Avila's Amendment is a practical, compassionate, and an urgently needed measure that strengthens safety, transparency, and trust. We respectfully urge the Council to pass Introduction 55 and ensure signage is accessible, multilingual, age-appropriate, and widely implemented across the city. Thank you, Councilmember Aviles and the co-sponsors for your leadership and for your continued commitment to immigrant children and families.
Thank you. Our next panelist is Neela Rai.
You may begin.
Namaste. Thank you to the Committee on Immigration for holding this public hearing to address the urgent need to protect our immigrant communities in New York City. My name is Neela Rai. I work at Adhikar, a Queens-based social justice nonprofit, as an immigration organizer. I'm also a proud TPS holder from Nepal. As new immigrants, many of our members are TPS holders of mixed family status or undocumented individuals who are forced to navigate a terrorizing, opaque immigration system that puts them at risk for deportation and detention. The fear of ICE extends to everything we do. Our members are having challenges renewing state IDs, struggling to find jobs, or being let go with little to no severance or unemployment. Many members risk losing their health insurance because once they lose a valid immigration status, they risk losing healthcare and access to life-saving medication. I stand before you as a representative of one of the greatest cities in the world, where people from everywhere have come to find work, pursue dreams, and free their families. We applaud Mayor Mamdani's executive order to review our sanctuary laws and policies. New York City's sanctuary laws are essential to maintaining trust among community members and ensuring the safety of all New Yorkers. As our city government enters a new chapter, it is imperative that the City Council acts swiftly to ensure that our city's commitment to welcoming and protecting immigrants is ironclad. Our local laws must provide clear, unambiguous prohibitions against colluding with immigration authorities and must also include real disincentives for violating those laws. For those reasons, I am testifying today to urge this council to act swiftly to pass the NYC Trust Act, a bill currently before the committee, which will create a private right of access to, so that people wronged by violations of these laws can seek justice in court. Immigrant New Yorkers and the community suffer long-term harm when New York City agencies ignore and misinterpret local detainer laws. This bill would make sure that city agencies can be held accountable when this happens, helping ensure compliance and preventing family separation. New York sanctuary laws help keep immigrant workers like me safe and protected at a time of incredible fear. Our work in advancing immigration justice responds directly to these challenges, a central facet of this
Thank you.
work.
Your time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have up Daniel Klein.
You may begin. You may begin.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak, Chair Encarnacion, in favor of Intro 55, the Know Your Rights proposal. My name is Dan Klein. I'm a coordinator for the Staten Island chapter of Jews for Racial and Economic Justice. Immigrants make America great. This phrase rings especially true for me and my experience of New York City. My great-grandparents immigrated here from Eastern Europe over 100 years ago in search of a safer and healthier home. To one degree or another, that is most likely true for all of us. Since that time period, many came with great dreams, others with stories of pain, suffering, and hardship. The population in New York City today consists of mixed status neighbors, friends, co-workers, and caregivers, all playing an integral role in the daily lives of our community. Living on the South Shore of Staten Island, every pizza shop, deli, restaurant, construction, and landscaping crew has migrant employees. We at Jews for Racial and Economic Justice, in collaboration with many other faith and immigrant-based groups, plan to continue sharing information to our neighbors about their rights. And I urge you as the City Council to support Intro 55, the Know Your Rights proposal. By sharing information regarding the rights that this bill provides, immigrant residents, their employers, and the community at large will better understand how to protect our friends and neighbors so they can continue living and working here safely and peacefully. I believe as people of faith and good morals that we have an obligation to do all that we can to help New Yorkers who constitute an important part of the fabric of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Yasmin Farhang.
You may begin.
Thank you, Councilmember Encarnacion. My name is Yasmin Farhang. I'm the Executive Director of the Immigrant Defense Project, which fights for justice for all immigrants, especially those targeted by the criminal and immigration legal systems. We're also a steering committee organization of ICE Out NYC, and thank you so much for holding this hearing. You need to only listen to all of the prior speakers to know the deep importance of sanctuary and all of the harms of violation. So I'll keep what I would like to share today short. Like many other people who have joined today, I'm deeply enthusiastic about this new chapter before our city. The executive order exemplified what we want to see. I'm enthusiastic about a stronger MOIA and welcome the critical interagency committee. We know at this moment at the local level that it comes with unprecedented challenges from this federal regime, as we've seen in so many other cities around the country. And one thing we would really like to urge today for our local leaders is to make a commitment that when we say we're building true safety and justice for all New Yorkers, we mean holding a goal that every person who calls our city home has due process and their human rights upheld. So even those who have the best of intentions often say about our sanctuary laws that they should protect New Yorkers in most cases, exempting those with criminal charges and convictions from protection. As you likely know, our laws have what is often referred to as a carve-out, creating a second tier of protection or a lack thereof for people with certain criminal convictions. Yet in so many cities around the country, there is simply a due process-based system that is crystal clear that ICE must simply produce a judicial warrant, right? So we're actually behind in New York City. What we believe is that punishing someone for immigration purposes after they've served their time or should otherwise be released is a cruel form of double punishment that undermines due process and undermines what we want to see in our sanctuary laws for New Yorkers. Lastly, this is especially important in this moment where ICE is carrying out illegal abductions, holding people in abusive and life-threatening conditions, and sending people to prisons abroad where irrefutable evidence of torture has emerged. So no New Yorker should be subject, no New Yorker, to these illegal and unconstitutional practices. And so when we affirm carve-outs in our protections,
Thank
we
you. Your
actually
time has expired.
that some people can be abused, and we want to make sure we're upholding due process for all. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Next, we have Hussein Yadaberry.
You may begin.
Good afternoon, Chair Encarnacion and members of the Immigration Committee. My name is Hussein Yadaberry, and I'm the Executive Director of Muslim Community Network. I am here today in strong support of intro number 55 and intro number 261. We're in a moment of deep fear and uncertainty for immigrant communities across New York City. Families are trying to understand what their rights are, what city spaces remain safe, and what to do if they encounter federal immigration authorities. In this climate, the council has a responsibility not to only affirm protections on paper, but to make those protections visible, understandable, and real in the places where New Yorkers live, learn, and seek help. At MCN, we do not speak about this issue from a distance. We speak from direct experience working with immigrant New Yorkers every day. We've served over 920 participants across immigration rights collaboratives and immigration rights workshops in 10 plus languages and ensuring cultural linguistic accessibility for those New Yorkers. That's why intro number 55 matters. Clear, plain language, multilingual signage about legal protections on city property can make a difference between confusion and confidence. It is also a daily reminder to every city employee walking into work that they have a role in upholding the dignity and rights of immigrant New Yorkers. And that is also why intro number 261 is so critical and important. If the city is serious about being a place of safety and trust, it cannot at the same time contract with entities engaged in immigration enforcement. Those two things cannot coexist. New Yorkers cannot be told that the city spaces are safe while the city maintains a relationship that help legitimize or support the very machinery creating fear within our communities. This is especially urgent at a time when DHS and ICE have increasingly operated in ways that blur the line between federal enforcement and trusted public presence. When people see enforcement agents cloaked in appearance of ordinary government authority, trust erodes even further. We cannot allow the kind of fear and confusion to follow people onto city property.
Thank you. Your time has expired.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. I'd like to call up Chris Johnson now.
Yeah, hello. My name is Christopher Leon Johnson. I support all the bills on the ticker today. But I want to make this clear that U.S. Immigration Chair, Mrs. Elise, I know you knew, you need to make a statement and calling on the commissioner and the mayor to rescind the criminalization of deliveristas, the criminalization of cyclists, because when you criminalize deliveristas, that is basically anti-immigrant, anti-migrant sentiment that is happening with the NYPD. And let's make that clear. But I'm the only one that's going crazy and going hard to call this stuff out to the point of saying this stuff publicly that they need to start to accept the criminalization of deliveristas. Where is transportation alternatives? Where is Worker Justice Project when it comes to they won't do it because they're scared of Jessica Tisch. They're scared of her getting those journalists to really start exposing who they really are. Let's make that clear. But I think this is the city council need to step up and make a statement and calling on Jessica Tisch to stop the criminalization of deliveristas, because when you have this stopped, the city will go forward and it will prove to the people that the city really cares about the migrants. It doesn't matter how much money you put, $1 million you put into the immigration committee or any of these nonprofits like Locamena, Worker Justice Project, MSECA, any of these, the NYIC. But if you're not doing the basic thing for the deliverista, who was mostly migrants, West African and Hispanic, from Guatemala and Mexico, and saying and doing what you got to do to tell the commission to stop the criminalization of deliveristas, including the street vendors. Shout out to the Street Vendor Project for passing, getting that local law bill passed today under Sheikh Al Christian. Shout out to Sheikh Al Christian. You're not proving anything. This is all talk. And the city council has a lot of power to make the action. And I think the action needs to start today, before the 100 days are up. Because I'm gonna say this right now, if the 100 days are not up, if the 100 days are up and we still have criminalization de Maristas, the city council failed the people.
Thank you. Your time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have now heard from everyone who has signed up to testify. If we inadvertently missed anyone who would like to testify in person, please visit the sergeant's table and complete a witness slip now. If we inadvertently missed anyone who would like to testify virtually, please use the raise hand function in Zoom, and a member of our staff will call on you in the order of the hands raised. No? Seeing no one else, I would like to wait. Okay, hold on. Seeing no one else, I would like to note again that written testimony, which will be reviewed in full by committee staff, may be submitted to the record up to 72 hours after the close of this hearing by emailing it to testimony@council.nyc.gov. Thank you, everyone, for the little few folks that stuck around to the end with me. But everyone who participated in today's hearing, thank you. This hearing is hereby adjourned.